हरे कृष्णा, जय श्रील प्रभुपाद।
ये ऋत्विकिज्म होता क्या है जी? ये तो हमने कभी सुना नहीं। हमने ऋतिक रोशन का नाम सुना हुआ है, लेकिन ऋत्विकिज्म, व्हाट इज दिस? ये क्या है?
See, he is talking about Guru Tattva. The word Guru means heavy, heavy with knowledge. And what is that knowledge? Tadvijnana. That heaviness is Brahmanishtha. Attachment to Brahman or Parabrahman Bhagavan. That is the Guru's qualification. So we are talking about a very heavy subject, the subject of the Guru. So at least speak with gravity. But no, this Amogh Līlā Prabhu, he treats it like a very cheapskate subject, and the way he explains his mannerisms. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.5 purport. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains, sometimes such pompous persons even present themselves as gurus. However, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that they are actually laghu or flimsy rather than guru or heavy with Vedic knowledge. So the exact definition of the word Ṛtvik is given in the Manusmriti. Agnyadheyam pakayajñan agnishtoma adikan makhan यः करोति वृतो यस्य सतस्य ऋत्विगः उच्यते. He who, being duly chosen for the purpose, performs the Agnyadheya, the Paka Yajnas and the Shrauta Yajnas, such as the Agnishtoma, for another person, is called his officiating priest, Ṛtvik. So the key words here, I have put them in red here. He who, being duly chosen for the purpose, performs yajnas for another person is called his officiating priest or Ṛtvik.
तो श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने ये ऋत्विक सिस्टम सिर्फ अपनी प्रेजेंस में रखा था, लेकिन श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने कभी कभी ऐसा नहीं बोला कि उनके फिजिकल डिपार्चर के बाद भी ये सिस्टम जारी रहेगा. तो
he is saying that this Ṛtvik system is only during his manifest presence. He did not say that it should be continued post his physical departure.
तमाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी महाराज और ससुरदास गोस्वामी महाराज दोनों ही अमेरिकन डिसाइपल्स हैं श्रील प्रभुपाद जी के, और वो उनसे इस बारे में सवाल पूछ रहे हैं. देखते हैं श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने क्या जवाब दिया. इसमें आपको ये बताएंगे ऋत्विक कौन सी कॉन्वर्सेशन दिखाते हैं और कौन सी नहीं दिखाते. सो हियर इज द कॉन्वर्सेशन एज यू कैन सी ऑन द स्क्रीन. तो श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने बोला, यस आई शैल रिकमेंड सम ऑफ यू आफ्टर दिस इज सेटल्ड, आई शैल रिकमेंड सम ऑफ यू टू एक्ट एज ऑफिशिएटिंग आचार्यस. तो
Okay, firstly, he skips the main question which sets the premise for this entire conversation. This is the conversation, 28 May 1977 in Vrindavan. So Satsvarup asked this question. Then our next question concerns initiations in the future, particularly at that time when you're no longer here, no longer with us. We want to know how first and second initiation would be conducted. Now, although Amogh Līlā actually mentions this in the video, he should show this particular question as he's showing this conversation. You just can't remove that from the context because it's very pertinent to this, very pertinent. Then Prabhupada immediately explains, yes, I shall recommend some of you, after this is settled up, I shall recommend some of you to act as officiating acharyas. So what is this after this is settled up? He was talking about other matters before this. Tamāla Krishna says, is that called Ṛtvik Acharya? Ṛtvik, yes.
अब यहां तक तो हमारे ऋत्विक भाई लोग कॉन्वर्सेशन दिखाते, कहते लो जी क्लियर हुआ है.
So what he's saying is the Ṛtviks only show this conversation until this point. They don't show further than this. That's not true. We show further all the way. But we don't agree with their interpretation of it. But until here, it's very clear. After this, it's Satsvarup Das Goswami who asks a follow-up question because he's not clear about what Prabhupada is meaning here. Then what is the relationship of that person who gives the initiation and Prabhupada says he's Guru. He's Guru. Now, Amogh Līlā says, oh, you see, he said twice, he's Guru. Yeah, we will show actually what he means, what he meant. Satsvarup says, but he does it on your behalf. Prabhupada says, yes, that is formality, because in my presence, one should not become Guru. So on my behalf, on my order, Amar Agya Guru Haya. But Prabhupada also did not say that in my absence, you're immediately qualified to become Guru.
He is Guru. Do what?
But he did not give the order. Okay, be actually Guru, but by my order, Satsvarup. So they may also be considered your disciples. Prabhupada, yes, they are disciples. Why consider? Who? So the conversation wasn't very clear. So Tamal Krishna asks again. No, he's asking that these Ṛtvik acharyas, they're officiating, giving Dīkṣā. They're the people who they give Dīkṣā to, whose disciples are they? Prabhupada says, they are his disciple. Tamal Krishna, they are his disciple. Prabhupada says, who is initiating? His grand disciple. So Satsvarup says, yes, that's clear. Then we have a question concerning, so he goes on to the next question where Prabhupada says, when I order, you become guru, he becomes regular guru, that's all. He becomes disciple of my disciple, that's it. So when he orders, that's when these people will become actual guru. It's not an automatic order that after my physical departure, these Ṛtviks now that I'm establishing until my physical presence will become the gurus after my physical departure. Is not what he's saying. He's saying that they will become his disciples, but when I order you. If Prabhupada only spoke about guru, then why would he even say Ṛtvik? Especially for initiations concerning the future, particularly when you're no longer here with us. And Prabhupada immediately first of all said Ṛtvik. Then follow-up question Satsvarup asks, and then he goes to say about guru, but then only on my order. And that order never came. If they say, Prabhupada said many times, there will be a future, then Prabhupada would have already said, I've already said this many times, that you are going to be my future in the parampara. So you will be the gurus after I depart. It would have been that simple. But he says, no, when I order you, you become regular guru, then you become regular guru. So the order hasn't come. He's talking in the futuristic tense.
लेकिन प्रभुपाद जी इस बात को हाईलाइट कर रहे हैं कि अभी ऐसा क्यों है कि मेरे बिहाफ पे वो दीक्षा दे रहा है, हालांकि डिसाइपल मेरा काउंट हो रहा है, क्योंकि एक मर्यादा होती है कि हमारे गुरुदेव जब खुद धराधाम पर उपस्थित हैं तो हम कौन होते हैं जी दीक्षा देने वाले। तो विनम्रता के भाव में शिष्य दीक्षा नहीं देता कि मेरे गुरु महाराज के बिहाफ पे दे रहा हूं, बट एक्चुअली आपको उतारने वाले तो वही है मास्टर। तो ये भाव रहता है शिष्य का। तो एक मर्यादा है, जी हाँ, मर्यादा, जिसको प्रभुपाद जी यहाँ पर हाईलाइट करें। तो आगे बढ़ते हैं इस कॉन्वर्सेशन के अंदर। तो ससुर महाराज फिर से पूछा, सो दे मे आल्सो बी कंसीडर्ड योर डिसाइपल्स। तो प्रभुपाद जी ने
See, it's not, yes, Maryada, but Prabhupada is not just highlighting the Maryada alone. Not that the disciple is already qualified to become guru. He's not. That also we will see. Okay? But anyway, let's continue with what his interpretation is.
Yes, they are disciples. Why consider? अरे consider क्या भाई, वो तो वाकई में disciples ही तो है। तो तमाल कृष्ण महाराज ने अगेन उसको फिर से क्लैरिफाई किया। देखिए क्या पूछ रहे हैं। No, he is asking that these Ṛtvik acharyas, they are officiating, giving Dīkṣā. The people who they give Dīkṣā to, whose disciples are they? Clear cut सवाल। अब देखिए clear cut जवाब। तो श्री प्रभुपाद जी ने बोला, they are his disciple। तमाल कृष्ण महाराज ने रिकन्फर्म किया, they are his disciple। श्री प्रभुपाद जी ने कहा, who is initiating? His grand disciple। ससुर महाराज ने कहा, yes, now that's clear। तो यहाँ
So first of all, I just don't like his intonations. He puts his own spin into that conversation by reading it in a different tone. That's not how it went. Yes, and all this. What is this? Even Tamal Krishna, he did not say, yeah, they're his disciple. That's not the question. That's not how he asked it. There was no question mark there. They're his disciple. He's just, so don't over dramatize it and make something else out of it.
प्रभुपाद जी कह रहे हैं कि ऐसा व्यक्ति वास्तव में डिसाइपल है। किसका? उसका जिससे वो दीक्षा ले रहा है। मेरा क्या है? वो ग्रैंड डिसाइपल, यानी कि स्पिरिचुअली वो मेरा पोता है। उसके पिताजी तो वो है, स्पिरिचुअल फादर वो व्यक्ति है जो कि दीक्षा दे रहे हैं। क्रिस्टल क्लियर। तो उसके बाद ससुर महाराज ने कहा, देन वी हैव अ क्वेश्चन। तो प्रभुपाद जी फिर कहा, व्हेन आई ऑर्डर यू बिकम गुरु, ही बिकम्स रेगुलर गुरु। दैट्स ऑल। He becomes disciple of my disciple. That's it. That's it. बोला श्री प्रभुपाद जी कहा है, file folder close by crystal clear.
So again, those intonations are complete nonsense, and I think he missed the entire point there. Because Prabhupada is saying, when I order, you become guru. He becomes regular guru. Until then, he's not regular guru, and nobody ordered him. Okay, you can't assume the order. Prabhupada, why did he say then when I order? If it's already a standing order that is there, then Prabhupada would not have even needed to say that. He said, when I order, you become guru. Then you become regular guru. That's all. He becomes disciple of my disciple. That's it. But until then, no, it's Ṛtvik. So now, even if this wasn't very clear, there is a follow-up for this. See, this was a conversation in a room with 5 or 6 GBC members. But later on, a letter was issued, July 9th, 1977 in Vrindavan. Letter to who? To all GBC and temple presidents, dear Mahārajas and Prabhus. So this is a organization-wide letter, circular, that was issued to clarify it. What was the context? So this is written by Tamāla Krishna Gosvāmī as a secretary to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Please accept my humble obeisances at your feet. Recently, when all of the GBC members were with His Divine Grace in Vrindavan, Śrīla Prabhupāda indicated that soon he would appoint some of his senior disciples to act as Ṛtvik, representative of the Acharya, for the purpose of performing initiations, both first initiation and second initiation. And what is the context of the GBC members when they were recently in Vrindavan? This was May 28th. Oh, how should the initiations be conducted, particularly at the time when you're no longer here with us? So in the same context, this letter stands. His Divine Grace has so far given a list of 11 disciples who will act in that capacity. Okay, so the 11 names are there. In the past, temple presidents have written to Śrīla Prabhupāda recommending a particular devotee's initiation. Now that Śrīla Prabhupāda has named these representatives, temple presidents may henceforward send recommendation for first and second initiation to whichever of these 11 representatives are nearest their temple. So it's not a question of Guru-Shishya relationship, because Guru-Shishya relationship does not depend on distance. Even if Prabhupada is in Australia and somebody is in, say, Europe, although very far, the relationship between Guru and Shishya is not governed by distance. But if it's just nearest, that's a matter of convenience and not a matter of spiritual connection. It's just a managerial way of how to conduct it. After considering the recommendation, these representatives may accept the devotee as an initiated disciple of Śrīla Prabhupāda by giving a spiritual name, or in the case of second initiation, by chanting on the Gayatri thread, just as Śrīla Prabhupāda has done. The newly initiated devotees are disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the above 11 senior devotees acting as his representative. After the temple president receives a letter from these representatives giving the spiritual name or the thread, he can perform the fire yajna in the temple as was being done before. So here the Ṛtviks are not really the ones doing the fire yajnas, they are just giving the name and chanting on the Gayatri thread. And the temple president is actually the one who is doing the sacrifice. But these Ṛtviks are doing it on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupāda. If you remember that definition in Manusmriti, he does it on another person's behalf, a ritual. So that role they are deputed to play. The name of the newly initiated disciple should be sent by the representative who has accepted him or her to Śrīla Prabhupāda to be included in His Divine Grace's Initiated Disciples book. Hoping this finds you all well. Your servant, Tamāla Krishna Gosvāmī, Secretary to Śrīla Prabhupāda, approved by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So in this letter, there are 4 times it is mentioned that they are Prabhupada's disciples. His representatives may accept the devotee as an initiated disciple of Prabhupada. The newly initiated disciples are disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, second time. The name of the newly initiated disciple should be sent by the representative who has accepted him or her to Śrīla Prabhupāda, third time, to be included in His Divine Grace Initiated Disciples book, fourth time. So 4 times in this short letter, it is said that the person is going to be Śrīla Prabhupāda's disciple. And when? Henceforward. He says that henceforward means for the time being. Even if we take that as the definition, which is not. Until when? Amar Agnya Guru Haya. When I order you become Guru, then you become regular Guru. Until then, you are not regular Guru, you are just a representative. And Prabhupada did not give that order. Until he gives that order, continue with the system. So even if Prabhupada is physically no more with us, even then we should continue? Well, yes, because there's no other order. That's the point here.
कोई भी व्यक्ति होगा ना, would want कि ना मेरे जीवन में गुरु हो, जो कि जिनसे मैं बात कर सकूं, जिनसे बातचीत कर सकूं, जिनसे मैं डाउट पूछ सकूं, जिनसे अपने काम खिंचवा सकूं, जो मुझे सेवा में लगाए, मुझे स्नेह दे, मुझे अफेक्शन दे, मुझको आशीर्वाद दे, मुझको नाम दे. तो इस प्रकार से एक जीवंत गुरु जब जीवन में होते हैं, तो बस उसका तो फिर आनंद ही कुछ और होता है. तुरंत.
So what he's saying is the necessity of a physical guru. If you have a physical guru who can chastise you, who can encourage you, who can talk to you, who can give you a name, who can be there for you physically, and when you can ask questions to him, when you have such an association of a person, of a guru like that, then that is a different bliss altogether. That's what he's saying. That is the Śikṣā-guru. Even when Prabhupada was here physically, he wasn't with every single disciple sitting and being available for asking questions and answering questions for them. No, many of them met only once or twice. Only a very select few spent a lot of time with Śrīla Prabhupāda. The rest of them, no. So what is he talking about? So that guidance can be offered by the Śikṣā-guru. And there are many Śikṣā-gurus. The temple management and the temple devotees, they are all Śikṣā-gurus. They will all teach us all these practical aspects. You can ask questions, you can get the guidance, you can get chastised, you can get encouraged. All these things will be there, available. So what is the dearth for that opportunity? You don't have to particularly be with the Dīkṣā Guru all the time. The temple president will still continue to guide us, and Śrīla Prabhupāda's books will still be the law books for us, and Śrīla Prabhupada is actually giving us the Divya Gyan. What is actually Dīkṣā? In the Bhakti Sandarbha, Śrīla Jiva Gosvāmī says, Divyam Jnanam yato dadyat kuryat papasya sankshayam tasmad dīkṣeti saprokta deshikais tattvako vidaihi. Dīkṣā is the process by which one can awaken his transcendental knowledge and vanquish all reactions caused by sinful activity. A person expert in the study of the revealed scriptures knows this process as Dīkṣā. So it's actually an acronym. Dīkṣā. Di stands for Divya Jnanam and Ksha stands for Sankshayam. Ksha. Kshayam means end. Sankshayam means complete end or complete stoppage of what? Papasya Sankshayam. Kuryat Papasya Sankshayam. All our sinful activities will be terminated. Sinful reactions will be terminated at the time of Dīkṣā. And we will be blessed with Divya Jnana. So who is giving us the Divya Jnana? Śrīla Prabhupāda through his books. By being situated in the Divya Jnana, sinful reactions are completely terminated. And that is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Yathaidhamsi samidhognir bhasmasat kurute arjuna jnanagnihi sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. This is Dīkṣā. Śrīla Prabhupāda is giving us the Dīkṣā. Of course, there is a formality, the formal ritual, which has to be also done. But this is the principle of the Dīkṣā. All these ceremonies are not just symbolism, have to carry meaning, and they have to be followed up and preceded by procedures. So Purascharya process will be there where a person actually chants for at least 6 months, attends the classes, reads the books, eats only Krishna Prasadam, associates with devotees, engages in service in the temple. In this way, when he's seen to be serious by the temple authorities, they will recommend. So this parikshana, this examining of the prospective disciple is done by the temple authorities on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And only then they are recommended for initiation. And when they are initiated, then this is what happens. There is a beautiful article by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Initiation into Spiritual Life, in the Harmonist magazine. So where he says that the effect of initiation is not the same for everyone because it depends on how seriously the disciple takes to the process. Of course, there is a head start, kickstart that one will get by the initiation process. But his advancement will depend on how careful he is in executing the order of the spiritual master and how careful he is in hearing and chanting and all these devotional processes. Only then the effect will be full. Otherwise, ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. Yadrishi yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. So that means however much we surrender, that much we are rewarded. So same thing. Initiation is like that. So this is initiation. So that physical guidance can be offered by the Śikṣā-gurus and the temple management. There is no need for Dīkṣā Guru to be personally present. When he has set up a system, there is no separate need. And that was how it was going on in Śrīla Prabhupāda's manifest presence. And the same thing system has to be continued. It's that simple. So Śikṣā and Dīkṣā Guru, a Śikṣā Guru who instructs against the instruction of spiritual master, he is not a Śikṣā Guru. He is a demon. Śikṣā-guru, Dīkṣā-guru means sometimes a Dīkṣā-guru is not always present. Therefore, one can take learning, instruction from an advanced devotee. That is called the Śikṣā-guru. Śikṣā-guru does not mean he is speaking something against the teachings of the Dīkṣā-guru. He is not a Śikṣā-guru. He is a rascal.
Of gurus. ऐसे ऐसे वैष्णव हैं जिन्होंने 40-40, 50-50 साल भक्ति की है, नाम भजन किया है, प्रचार प्रसार किया है, सनातन धर्म का all across the globe. ये गुरु बनने के लायक नहीं है. Oh. Does that logically make sense? Absolutely not. He's saying that they did service for 40 years, sometimes 50 years, and they're still not qualified to become gurus. Well, they became gurus just after 10 years into the movement, some even lesser than that. And they have been acting as gurus for many decades now. It actually does not depend on the length of time of service. For example, why then this verse is there? Bahu janma kare jadi shravana kirtan
Tabutana paya Krishna pade prema dhan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. So there are 10 offenses from the Padma Puran, which if we commit, then our progress in chanting will be not fast. In fact, it will be stunted. So one of those 10 offenses, the third offense, for example, is Guror Avajñā, disobedience or to disobey the order of the spiritual master, and to also consider him as an ordinary person, Martya Saddhihi. So if we consider him a Martya, Gurushu Naramatya, then, or if we disobey his order, that's an offense. And when Śrīla Prabhupāda did not explicitly ask anyone to become Acharya or Guru, and if I just take up the post whimsically, that is an offense. So anyone who has done that, it doesn't matter how many years service or whatever, it's an offense. I mean, see, if I commit an offense to Śrīla Prabhupāda by disobeying his order out of my weakness, okay, I have to just get back up on my feet again. But here, it's much more serious than that, because it's not only personal disobedience, but also institutionalizing such disobedience and teaching this disobedience to every single devotee that comes into the organization, getting them Prabhupada books as a bait, and then once they come in, Prabhupada is no more their guru, it's somebody else. That's not fair. That's very offensive. Not only are they committing the offense of disobeying Śrīla Prabhupada's instructions, but they're also institutionalizing such disobedience very, very willfully. And that's the big offense here. So I'm sorry, there is no order of Śrīla Prabhupada, and however much senior one may be, one is not more senior than Śrīla Prabhupada. They always criticize us, they always do Vaiṣṇava Ninda, they criticize Vaishnavas, they blaspheme Vaishnavas. Well, I wouldn't want to blaspheme any Vaishnava, but Śrīla Prabhupada is the Param Vaishnava, topmost Vaishnava. Even in our Parampara, he's the most glorious. He spread it all over the world, the Harinam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction he fulfilled. He is the personification of the prophecy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, personification of his mercy. And such an Acharya, I can offend, but I should not offend lesser Vaishnavas. What is that? Especially when they're against the Śrīla Prabhupada, who is the Acharya for this Kali Yuga. No, I am sorry. I will choose to stand by Śrīla Prabhupada, and if anybody is against Śrīla Prabhupada, we have to condemn, however great he may be. Just like Bhishma Dev is a Mahajan, but in front of Krishna, he was against, Krishna's devotees, who are the Pandavas. And then Krishna said, he must be killed. Now, no, he's Mahajan, never mind, he's on the wrong side. So even if one is a Mahajan, if he's on the wrong side, he has to be called out. And that's just being honest. That's not being blasphemous, that's not being proud or anything. It's just being honest. Truthfulness. That's all it is. It's as simple as that. So, length of time doesn't mean anything. Prabhupada said in one conversation, in one lecture, 1 minute, Madhudvisha is asking, we have been here for many lifetimes performing sinful activities. So, is it possible to counteract all those sinful activities in one lifetime? Or does it require many? Prabhupada said 1 minute. And actually, you can see the video. Prabhupada is like, his eyes become big and he's like, emphatically saying it. That is Krishna consciousness movement. 1 minute. You're not reading Bhagavad Gita? What Krishna says? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. 1866 Bhagavad Gita. You surrender unto me, give up your all business, I will give you relief from all sinful reaction immediately. So it requires 1 minute. Prabhupada said 3 times he said 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. My dear Krishna, I was forgotten, now I understand, I fully surrender unto you. Then you become immediately free from all sinful reactions. Without any reservation, without any politics, if you fully surrender, Krishna is assuring, aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. He reassures, don't worry whether I will be able to give you relief from all reaction. Ma sucha. Finished. Guaranteed. You do this. So how much time it requires to surrender to Krishna? Immediately you can do that. Surrender means you surrender and work as Krishna says. That is surrender. Now, this is the principle. But because we are so conditioned, so it's not so easy that we may immediately develop all the qualities. And that's actually what Prabhupada said. 1977. This was just months before he disappeared. And you see what the conversation is. So Prabhupada is saying, no, you become Guru, but you must be qualified first of all. Then you become. Then Tamāla Krishna, oh, that kind of complaint was there? Prabhupada, did you know that? Tamāla Krishna, yeah, I heard that, yeah. Then Prabhupada is saying, what is the use of producing some rascal Guru? Tamāla Krishna is saying, well, I have studied myself and all of your disciples, and it's clear fact that we are all conditioned souls, so we cannot be guru. Maybe one day it may be possible. You see, he's already thinking about it. But see, a real guru will never think of becoming a guru. But anyway, it's clear fact that we're all conditioned souls. This was when? 22nd of April, 1977. And Prabhupada disappeared in November, 7 months prior to his departure. This conversation, 7 months before. None of them are qualified. So we cannot be guru. Tamāla Krishna is saying. Prabhupada said, maybe one day it may be possible, but not now. Prabhupada said, yes, I shall choose some guru. I shall say, now you become Acharya. You become authorized. I'm waiting for that. You become all Acharya. I retire completely. But the training must be complete. Tamāla Krishna, the process of purification must be there. Prabhupada, oh yes, must be there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants that. Amar Agya Guru Haya. You become guru, but be qualified. Little thing, strict follower. Tamāla Krishna, not rubber stamp. Prabhupada, then you will not be effective. You can cheat, but it will not be effective. Just see our Gaudiya Math. Everyone wanted to become guru and a small temple and guru. What kind of guru? No publication, no preaching, simply bring some food stuff. My Guru Mahārāja used to say joint mess, a place for eating and sleeping. Khaoya, daoya, adda khana. Joint mess, he said this. This is the thing, rubber stamping will not do. The person has to be qualified. He has to have potency. He has to become. What is the qualification of a guru? So that also must be very clear. Guru Tattva means, first of all, we must know who can be a guru. Because these people are just muddling up the whole concept, muddling up the whole Tattva with a very, very diluted form, very, very diluted version of what a guru actually should be. Brahman upashamashrayam, Brahman nishtham, Shrotriyam Brahman nishtham. Nishtham means fixed up, thoroughly fixed. Not that, flimsy and then after some time fall down. That's not guru, that's laghu, that's flimsy, that's not heavy.
तो भक्त ने पूछा, after you, is it any?
So he's trying to now say that, oh, Prabhupada few times said that, I'm looking for, future spiritual masters. But, Prabhupada said qualified. Just now we have read that. I want to say that you become guru, but qualification must be there. So he's waiting. Prabhupada said, I'm waiting for qualification. Without qualification, Prabhupada will say, you become guru.
तो भक्त ने पूछा, after you, is it any decision has been made? Who will take over? तो प्रभुपाद जी बड़ा सुंदर जवाब दे रहे हैं, yes, all of them will take. These students who are initiated from me, all of them will act as I am doing. Just like I have got many god brothers, they are all acting as gurus, of course. Similarly, all these disciples which I am making, initiating, they are being trained to become future spiritual master.
Again, I hate the intonation that he puts into these readings because it just over dramatizes nonsense. So anyway, future spiritual masters. Yes. So there are two things. One is hope. He hopes for his disciples all to become future spiritual masters. But then order is something else. Order means when you're actually qualified, when Prabhupada thinks, okay, now he can become guru, then he will actually tell. He wants all of his disciples to become guru. But not all will, because they won't take it up seriously. It depends on a person's how seriously he takes it and whether he makes a full advancement or not. So it's hope versus order. Here what he's mentioning is, this is what he's hoping for. But just now we have read 1977, April 22nd. He said, I'm waiting. I want to say that, I want to say you become Acharya. But I'm waiting for qualification. And Tamāla Krishna said, none of us are qualified conditions. So Prabhupada said, therefore the training must go on. So you can't just conflate these two things and then say, oh, yeah, he said everybody is future spiritual masters. This is crap. Many times Prabhupada said that, he wants, everybody to continue this parampara and everything. But we should see what he finally said. Because there's a very nice verse from the Nyāya Shastras. Purva parayor madhye para-vidhir balavan. Between the former rule and the latter rule, the latter is more important. And if we go here, the above mentioned verse from Srimad Bhagavatam gives two injunctions. The first, called Para-vidhi, is that one should not praise. And the second, Para-vidhi, is that one should not criticize. As will be apparent from the following verse, the injunction against praise is less important than the injunction against blasphemy. One should carefully observe the Para-vidhi, although one may neglect the Purva-vidhi. You see this? You see the point there? So the context of the verse, Bhagavatam verse, I'm not going to go there. It's actually a very important verse. But you see the concept here, the principle. One should carefully observe the Para-vidhi, although one may neglect the Purva-vidhi. Thus, the actual injunction is that one may praise, but should not criticize. This is called Shleshokti, or a statement having two meanings. Ramachandra Puri, however, acted in just the opposite way. For he neglected the Para-vidhi, but strictly observed the Purva-vidhi. This is exactly what the ISKCON people are doing. They are neglecting the Para-vidhi, the later instruction, which he said, Ṛtvik, henceforward, and he never gave any order after that. They are neglecting that, and they're strictly following the Para-vidhi. Oh, Prabhupada said future spiritual masters. Prabhupada said law of disciplic succession. Prabhupada said you will be the 14th next in line after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, next after me. They say all these things. Yes, Prabhupada wanted that. That was his hope. But we were too hopeless. We did not make it. So he just put in a system which will be foolproof. Whether one is qualified or not qualified, if Ṛtvik system is followed, it can be, everybody can have Prabhupada's shelter till the end of this movement, which is predicted to last at least 10,000 years. So Prabhupada has extended his mercy for 10,000 years. How merciful he is. But they are neglecting the Para-vidhi, but strictly observing the Purva-vidhi. Very important. Since he avoided following the principle of not criticizing, Ramachandra Puri broke both the rules. Actually, these ISKCON people are also breaking both the rules because they are not following the final order, which is the Ṛtvik system, and the Purva-vidhi, which is Prabhupada said, I want every one of you to become spiritual master. He wanted it by qualification. And that also they are not following. Not qualified simply. So both rules they are breaking actually. It's very instructive, this thing. And on a similar note, there's a very beautiful conversation, or I think it's part of a lecture, question and answer. So this is in a lecture on the 15th of April 1975 in Hyderabad. Shri Krishna says in the end of the Gita, Sarvadharman Parityajya, 1866. But in another place in the Gita, twice it is mentioned, Shreyan Swadharmo Paradharmo Bhayavaha. One should perform his own duty rather than another's duty. So it seemed like a contradictory instruction. Here he's saying, do one's own duty rather than another's duty. And finally he's saying, give up all duties and surrender unto me. Why he's saying many things? Prabhupada said, yes. How can we, so basically he's asking, how can we understand this? So Prabhupada said, I may say many things to you, but when I say something directly, do it. Your first duty is to do that. You cannot argue, sir, you said me like this before. No, that is not your duty. What I say now, you do it. That is obedience. You cannot argue. Of course, Krishna never said anything contradictory. But if when one thinks foolishly that Krishna said something contradictory, no, that is not to be. You could not understand. So even though you could not understand, you take my direct orders now. Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam. That is your business. The master says like that, and the servant's business is to accept it as it is without any argument. You understand the point? This is exactly in this context. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are many instructions, and finally Krishna says this, Sarvadharman Parityajya. Why is there contradictory? Why Krishna is saying many things? Actually, Krishna is not saying many things. Krishna is saying only one thing. He's actually leading us to that point. Even if we did not understand, if we just take the last instruction, that will be the perfection. Similarly, Prabhupada never contradicted himself. ISKCON people say that, Ṛtvik say that final order Prabhupada said Ṛtvik, all his life he never said. He was saying always future spiritual masters, future spiritual masters. And then finally he's saying something contradictory. Ṛtviks are saying that Prabhupada is contradicting his own teachings all until then. There's no contradiction at all. He wanted us to be qualified, and then he would want to appoint. He saw none qualified. We can see April 22nd, 1977, 7 months before. And 7 months, nothing much changed. In fact, some of them administered poison to Śrīla Prabhupāda, which is the worst sin one can do. And they became pure devotees after that. So that was there. That's the history. So no one was qualified. So Prabhupada, so merciful, instead of leaving it in a limbo, he ensured that this system will run for posterity till the end of this movement, which is at least predicted to last 10,000 years. So that's his mercy. Same thing. There's nothing contradictory. We did not understand. If they say, we understand actually, in our Ṛtvik system, we understand what Prabhupada meant when he said future spiritual masters. But these ISKCON people, they don't seem to understand. They say, this is a law of disciplic succession, that after, because actually, let's take out that, because that is another argument, although Amogh Līlā did not mention it. Yeah, this letter to Tushta Krishna Swami. Keep trained up very rigidly, and then you are bona fide guru. And you can accept disciples on the same principle. But as a matter of etiquette, it is the custom that during the lifetime of your spiritual master, you bring the prospective disciples to him. And in his absence or disappearance, you can accept disciples without any limitation. This is the law of disciplic succession. I want to see my disciples become bona fide spiritual master and spread Krishna consciousness very widely. That will make me and Krishna very happy. Now, he's saying this is the law of disciplic succession. What is that? After his disappearance, you can accept disciples without any limitation. But is that really the law? What is actually at play here? Now, am I questioning Prabhupada's words? Not at all. But then why did Śrīla Prabhupāda say here, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 12.8, purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur at the time of his departure requested all his disciples to form a governing body and conduct missionary activities cooperatively. He did not instruct a particular man to become the next Acharya. If the law of disciplic succession was that after the disappearance of the Acharya, every initiated disciple of that Acharya automatically becomes a guru. If that was really the law, then there was no need to say anything. There would just be, gurus. But you see how Prabhupada is saying, he did not instruct a particular man to become the next Acharya. And we have seen in the May 28th conversation, Amar Agnya Guru Haya, April 22nd, 1977, he is saying, I'm waiting to order my disciples, you become Guru next, but I'm waiting for the qualification. So he has to order. It's not that the law of disciplic succession is automatic. So he did not instruct a particular man to become the next Acharya, but just after his passing away, his leading secretaries made plans without authority to occupy the post of Acharya. And they split into two factions over who the next Acharya would be. Consequently, both factions were asara or useless because they had no authority, having disobeyed the order of the spiritual master. Ditto copy is what happened in ISKCON. Prabhupada wrote this just to warn us from this same thing repeating in our ISKCON, and the exact same thing happened. Despite the spiritual master's order to form a governing body and execute the missionary activities of the Gaudiya Math, the two unauthorized factions began litigation that is still going on after 40 years with no decision. Even in ISKCON, that is the context. ISKCON Bangalore and ISKCON Mumbai were in a litigation for 25 years. Finally, by Krishna's mercy, it was settled in the Supreme Court. But it was ISKCON Mumbai's aggression. In fact, ISKCON Kolkata was actually following the Ṛtvik system. They brought gundas to beat the devotees up and occupy the temple. This is the history. They wanted to do the same thing in Bangalore, but they could not. So, Madhupandit Prabhu fought, and now after 25 years, the decision came into his favor. But you see how ISKCON is persecuting. These people are not very, very vicious, not Vaiṣṇava-like at all. He is trying to portray, Vaishnavas, nothing like a Vaishnava. They behave like gundas. People died. One Sulochan Prabhu in 1986. He tried to bring out this nonsense that was going on. He wanted to bring out a book called The Guru Business, how they were making the business out of Prabhupada's movement, these gurus. And he was killed. And another person also was killed, murdered, brutally murdered. This is Vaishnav. Forget about litigation. Murders happened, sexual assaults, what not happened. Okay, you can read that. It's a very important purpose. In fact, from 12.8 to 12.12, all are important. I'll actually just go to 12.9 as well. Kehato Acharya Agnya, Kehato Swatantra, Swamata Kalpana Kore Daiva Paratantra. Some of the disciples strictly accepted the orders of the Acharya and others deviated, independently concocting their own opinions under the spell of Daivi Maya. See here, Prabhupada explains. This verse describes the beginning of a schism. Schism means a divide. When disciples do not stick to the principle of accepting the order of their spiritual master, immediately there are two opinions. Any opinion different from the opinion of the spiritual master is useless, is deviation. There is no scope for adjusting spiritual advancement to material ideas. They actually have many material ideas. We will come to that. So this is Acharya Mata Jay Shay Mata Sar Tara Agdhan Loghi Chale Sheta Asar. The order of the spiritual master is the active principle in spiritual life. Anyone who disobeys the order of the spiritual master immediately becomes useless. Immediately. Not that, 30, 40 years. No. Immediately become useless. The moment they disobey the order of the spiritual master, whoever they are, whatever they are, how much ever service they did, useless. And it's not just a small disobedience. It's a major, willful, persistent disobedience. And they're propagating such disobedience, institutionalizing it.
वास्तव देखिए प्रभुपाद जी की पोटेंसी, ही इज एन आचार्य, इतने शक्तिशाली आचार्य हैं कि वो अगली जनरेशन को कई दीक्षा गुरु, कई शिक्षा गुरु, कई मेंटोर्स, कई फिलोसोफर्स देने की क्षमता रखते हैं. लेकिन अगर हम ये मानते हैं कि श्रील प्रभुपाद जी इतने कमजोर आचार्य, इतने इंपोर्टेंट आचार्य थे कि अगली जनरेशन को एक दीक्षा गुरु नहीं दे पाए, इससे बड़ा अपमान और हम श्रील प्रभुपाद जी का भला क्या ही करेंगे. श्रील प्रभुपाद जी जैसे पोटेंट आचार्य जो कि भगवान के धाम से आते हैं इस जगत में कल्याण करने के लिए, क्या इस जगत को वो एक भी दीक्षा गुरु दे पाएंगे? अरे रे. So somewhere calling an acharya an important आचार्य, हालांकि वो ऐसा बोलते नहीं है, but it indicates like this कि उन्होंने अगली जनरेशन को एक दीक्षा गुरु नहीं दिया. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है.
This is an accusation that they throw at us. So basically, he is saying that we are implying Prabhupada to be important because he cannot even make one pure devotee and an acharya. Prabhupada has the potency to make billions and trillions, the entire universe into pure devotees. We should understand, important, and there is also infertile. In pregnancy, either the man is impotent or the woman is infertile. Either way, the pregnancy won't happen. So if the seed is potent, but the land is barren, even though you sow the seed, it won't sprout. So Prabhupada is potent beyond doubt. It depends on us whether we are fertile or not, whether our hearts are fertile or not, whether we are doing our gardening properly or not. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains this, that the Bhaktilata Bij, when we get from the Guru, the seed of devotional service, we have to garden it with sechan. Sechan means to water them. So water it, being a gardener. So what is that watering? The Shravan Kirtan process. And it's these are chronological stages of advancement. Ado Shraddha tatah sadhu sango tha bhajana kriya tato anartha nivritti hisyat tato nishtha ruchis tatah athasaktis tato bhavas tatah premabhyudanchati sadhakanamayam premnah pradurbhave bhavet kramaha. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master, and under his instruction, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. By execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachment, attains steadiness in self-realization, and acquires a taste for hearing about the absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This taste leads one further forward to attachment for Krishna consciousness, which is matured in bhava, or the preliminary stage of transcendental love of God. Real love of God is called prema, the highest perfectional stage of life. So unless we come to the stage of this prema, Krishna prema, we are not pure devotees. There is a lot of stages of advancement that we need to pass through. So it will take time. Depends on how serious we are though. So if anybody has not become a pure devotee, and if no one has become a pure devotee, because at least by 77 Prabhupada is saying, I'm still waiting, that is not a failure of Prabhupada at all. That's a failure of the disciples. And it's not exactly a failure because it will take time. But if one disobeys, that's a failure. And even if one becomes a pure devotee, and if there are many pure devotees, say, we can still follow the Ṛtvik system without a problem. That's the beauty of this system. It doesn't depend on the qualification of Prabhupada's disciples anymore. Everybody can take shelter of Śrīla Prabhupāda. For example, Jiva Gosvāmī, pure devotee, but he did not become a Dīkṣā guru. He remained a Śikṣā-guru for Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda Pandit. He was their Śikṣā-guru. He never became Dīkṣā guru. One can remain a pure devotee and a Śikṣā-guru and guide others, and everybody will respect a senior devotee, a pure devotee. You don't have to become a Dīkṣā guru. Arjuna did not become a Dīkṣā guru. So it's not necessary. But with the Ṛtvik system, the pure devotee guru, his shelter is there. So Prabhupada made a foolproof system for all of the future. He secured all of our spiritual lives by instituting the Ṛtvik system. And these people are blaspheming that, making a joke out of it. Hrithik Roshan, what is this? Taking it so lightly and saying that this is Mayavad, calling Ṛtviks are Ekalavyas because we are just worshipping the Murti, and just like Ekalavya worship the Murti of Dronacharya. They have these explanations for Ṛtvik system. Accusations. There's a beautiful article, Ekalavya versus Arjuna, Ekalavya and Arjuna by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The thing is about following the order of the spiritual master. It's not about the Murti. Murti everybody has. We have, ISKCON also has. Prabhupada Murti everybody has. It's the order. Who's following the order of the spiritual master? That's what matters.
लेकिन अगर आप पूरा लेटर पढ़ेंगे ना, ISKCON स्क्रीन पे रख रहे हैं, आप देख सकते हैं इस लेटर को. इस लेटर के अंदर कहीं पर भी क्लियर कट ऐसा नहीं लिखा हुआ कि मेरे जाने के बाद सेल्फ अपॉइंटेड ऋत्विक गुरु बनते रहेंगे. ऐसा नहीं लिखा हुआ है. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं लिखा हुआ.
That is his analysis of the July 9th letter. Maximum, 10 seconds or something, just moving that too, when nobody can read anything. Why don't you show it? Why don't you actually stop and show and analyze? You have analyzed the May 20th conversation for that long, conveniently, that too taken out the question at the top, and then misinterpreting in your own way. Prabhupada said, on my order. Where is the order? That you did not explain. Oh, everybody is guru, regular guru. You have analyzed that for so long. Why don't you analyze the July 9th letter and go word by word? It's not that long of a letter. It's a short letter and very, very clear letter. And it's addressed to all temples, all GBC and temple president, Mahārajas and Prabhus. It's a document for the entire institution. Why are you not showing it properly? Just saying you putting your commentary there. No, not letting anyone read anything. This is rubbish. Willfully. This is called lying by omission. By omitting your lying. So anyway, we have explained this July 9th letter in detail.
तो इस लेटर के अंदर दो पॉइंट्स बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट है जो कि नहीं मेंशन है. वन इज कि क्या फ्यूचर में सेल्फ अपॉइंटेड ऋत्विक गुरु रहेंगे, क्योंकि ये 11 तो हैं, पर इनमें से 10 तो अब जा चुके, बस एक श्री जयप्रताप स्वामी महाराज जी बचे हैं. अब वो तो रेगुलर गुरु हैं जी, और बाकी तो अब रहे नहीं. तो अब आज के दिन में जो ऋत्विक गुरु बनते हैं, कहाँ लिखा है? क्या कोई ऐसा लेटर है जहां प्रभुपाद जी बोल रहे हैं आगे जाकर के अपनी मनमौजी तरीके से अब ऋत्विक गुरु चुनते रहना? ऐसा नहीं लिखा हुआ है. ऐसा कोई लेटर नहीं है. और ये जो लेटर भी है जुलाई 9 का, इसे भी कहीं मेंशन नहीं है.
It's a very interesting conversation at Topanga Canyon Pyramid House Talks. We have also covered this in our IS 77. So this is our PDF, Initiations after 1977. And in this, so one may ask as to what would happen after these 11 have passed away or fallen from grace for any reason. The sentence prior to the list of 11 representatives reads, His Divine Grace has so far given a list of 11 disciples who will act in that capacity. The words so far indicate that there is no intention to make them the final list, and that is exactly what was confirmed in point B below. Tamāla Krishna Gosvāmī, in his confession in 1980, quoted Śrīla Prabhupāda as saying, as is necessary, others may be added. So there is provision, enough provision for this.
So तमाल कृष्ण महाराज उन्होंने लेटर टाइप किया था. अब लेटर जो उन्होंने टाइप किया तो उनसे पूछा गया कि आपने इसमें जो लिखा है हैंस फॉरवर्ड कि अब से, ये हैंस फॉरवर्ड मतलब का मतलब क्या था? तो उन्होंने कहा वेल हैंस फॉरवर्ड मतलब कि अब फिलहाल के लिए, दैट्स इट. अच्छा, क्या इसका मतलब क्या हमेशा हमेशा के लिए लिखा? नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं. तो जो लेटर खुद टाइप करना है वो खुद बता रहे हैं बाबा, ये फॉर अ टाइम बीइंग के लिए इंस्ट्रक्शन थी, ये हमेशा हमेशा के लिए नहीं थी. तो ये लेटर प्रभुपाद ने खुद टाइप नहीं किया, तमाल कृष्ण महाराज जी ने टाइप किया. उनको मोटा मोटा बताया श्री प्रभुपाद जी ने, और फिर तमाल कृष्ण महाराज ने इसको टाइप किया. सो कब किस शब्द का क्या मीनिंग है जो टाइप करने वाला खुद बता रहा है, कम से कम उसकी बात तो मान ले साहब.
His way of talking is so irritating. So coming to the point, now what he's saying is we have to believe Tamāla Krishna Gosvāmī who typed the letter. He's the one who engineered this whole guru system within ISKCON. He actually was suspended in 1980, which is when he spoke. So now he says, oh, at least believe what he's saying. Okay, let's take out what he's saying. This is in 1980, December 3rd. You know what happened? Why was he confessing? Because he was becoming very, very unruly. So the GBC suspended him and actually Hamsadutta also at the time from being gurus. He then came up with his confession and later he denied it again. But when that moment, a brief moment of good intelligence came, then he actually said the truth. Okay, so this is what Tamāla Krishna says. Actually, this 1980 December 3rd conversation is very, very long. When I printed it on paper, I mean in a PDF from the website, the entire conversation transcript was 45 pages. So this is just one part of it where Tamāla Krishna actually confesses. Okay, so let's read. Tamāla Krishna Gosvāmī is saying, I have had a certain realization a few days ago. There are obviously so many statements by Śrīla Prabhupāda that his Guru Maharaj did not appoint any successors. Even in Prabhupada's books, he said Guru means by qualification. The inspiration came because there was a questioning on my part, so Krishna spoke. Krishna spoke. Now he's still acting as some very elevated devotee. So anyway, let's take it Krishna spoke. Then why did he retract this thing? Krishna spoke, he said Krishna spoke. Let's take it at face value. And Krishna actually spoke to him. Later he said, this is, in fact, you cannot, I went to Tamāla Krishna archives, audio archives. I searched for the date, December 3rd, 1980 is not even there. They removed it even from that. Somehow or other, this transcript has survived. And actually, I have a full transcript now. So he said, the inspiration came from within, a questioning on my part. So Krishna spoke. Actually, Prabhupada never appointed any gurus. What did Krishna speak? Actually, Prabhupada never appointed any gurus. He appointed 11 Ṛtviks. He never appointed them gurus. Myself and the other GBC have done the greatest disservice to this movement the last 3 years because we interpreted the appointment of Ṛtviks as the appointment of gurus. He said 3 years. Now it is, I think, how many years now? In another 2 years, it will be 50 years of disservice. What actually happened, I'll explain. I explained it, but the interpretation is wrong. What actually happened was that Prabhupada mentioned he might be appointing some Ṛtviks. So the GBC met for various reasons and they went to Prabhupada, 5 or 6 of us. This refers to the meeting of May 28, 1977. We asked him, Śrīla Prabhupāda, after your departure, if we accept disciples, whose disciples will they be? Your disciples or mine? So he's paraphrasing what happened in that May 28th conversation. Later on, there was a piled up list for people to get initiated and it was jammed up. I said, Śrīla Prabhupāda, you once mentioned about Ṛtviks. I don't know what to do. We don't want to approach you, but there's hundreds of devotees named and I'm just holding all the letters. I don't know what you want to do. Śrīla Prabhupāda said, all right, I will appoint so many. And he started to name them. He made it very clear that they are his disciples. At that point, it was very clear in my mind that they were his disciples. Later on, I asked him 2 questions. One, what about Brahmananda Swami? I asked him this because I happen to have an affection for Brahmananda Swami. So Śrīla Prabhupāda said, no, not unless he is qualified. Before I got ready to type the letter, I asked him 2, Śrīla Prabhupāda, is this all or do you want to add more? He said, as is necessary, others may be added. Now I understand that what he did was very clear. He was physically incapable of performing the function of initiation physically. Therefore, he appointed officiating priests to initiate on his behalf. He appointed 11 and he said very clearly, whoever is nearest, he can initiate. This is a very important point because when it comes to initiating, If it isn't whoever is nearest, it's wherever your heart goes, who you repose your faith on. You take initiation from him. They were spread out all over the world, and he said, whoever's your nearest, you just approach that person and they'll check you out. Then on my behalf, they will initiate. It's not a question that you repose your faith in that person. Nothing. That's a function for the guru. I already explained this before, right? It's not about the distance, because if I want to take initiation from such and such guru, but he feels far off, but I'm asked to take initiation from the nearest one. So it's not actually a guru-disciple relationship. It's just an officiating managerial relationship. So in order for me to manage this movement, Prabhupada said, I have to form a GBC and I'll appoint the following people. In order to continue the process of people joining our movement and getting initiated, I have to appoint some priests to help me, because just like I cannot physically manage everyone myself, I physically cannot initiate everyone myself. And that's all that it was. And it was never any more than that. If it had been more than that, you can bet your bottom dollar that Prabhupada would have spoken for days and hours and weeks on end about how to set up this thing with the gurus. But he didn't, because he already had said it 1,000,000 times. He said, my Guru Maharaj did not appoint anyone. It's by qualification. We made a great mistake. After Prabhupada's departure, what is the position of these 11 people? Prabhupada showed that it is not just sannyasis. He named 2 people who were grihasthas, who could at least be Ṛtviks, showing that they were equal to any sannyasi. So anyone who is spiritually qualified, it's always been understood that you cannot accept disciples in the presence of your guru. But when the guru disappears, you can accept disciples if you're qualified and someone can repose their faith. Of course, they, prospective disciples, should be fully appraised at how to distinguish who is a proper guru. But if you are a proper guru and your guru is no longer present, that is your right. It's like a man can procreate. Unfortunately, the GBC did not recognize this point. They immediately assumed or decided these 11 people are the selected gurus. I can definitely say for myself, and for which I humbly beg forgiveness from everybody, that there was definitely some degree of trying to control. This is the conditioned nature, and it came out in the highest position of all. Guru, oh wonderful. Now I am a guru and there is only 11 of us. I feel that this realization or this understanding is essential if we are to avoid further things from happening, because believe me, it's going to repeat. It's just a question of time until things have a little bit faded out and again another incident is going to happen, whether it's here in LA or somewhere else. It's going to continuously happen until you allow this actual spiritual force of Krishna to be exhibited without restriction. I feel that the GBC body, if they don't adopt this point very quickly, if they don't realize this truth, you cannot show me anything on tape or in writing where Prabhupada says, I appoint these 11 as gurus. Tamāla Krishna himself is saying, you cannot show me anything on tape or in writing where Prabhupada says, I appoint these 11 as gurus. It does not exist because he never appointed any gurus. This is a myth. The day you got initiated, you get the right to become a father when your father disappears, if you're qualified. No appointment. It doesn't require an appointment because there isn't one. Now, this we don't completely agree, because he has to be appointed. He has to be authorized by his guru. This is actually his misunderstanding also. Partially it's a misunderstanding and partially it's a confession. The misunderstanding is that he says, if we're qualified, then we can initiate. No, you still have to be authorized. Because Prabhupada, when he was asked, when did you become guru? When I was authorized by my guru, when I was ordered by my guru. Nobody can become guru otherwise. We wrote a note here in this IS 77. Here, Tamāla Krishna claims that one automatically inherits the right to become a guru after his guru departs, provided he is qualified. That was his viewpoint, but as quoted in chapter 222 of Authorization of Dīkṣā, page 43 of this book, Śrīla Prabhupāda clarifies the point that apart from being qualified, a pure devotee must be authorized by his guru to become a guru himself. Okay, you see this. So an Indian man, he asks, when did you begin to become the spiritual leader of Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada, when my Guru Maharaj ordered me. This is the Guru Parampara. Did he just? Prabhupada said, try to understand. Don't go very speedily. A guru can become guru when he is ordered by his guru. That's all. Otherwise, nobody can become guru. Prabhupada did not say that I became qualified and my Guru Maharaj is no more and therefore I am guru. No, he said when my Guru Maharaj ordered me. Although Prabhupada is qualified. Still, he is qualified since birth. He is sent by Krishna. But he waited for the order of the guru. When and how that order came, that's not for us to question. But that's the principle. Then again, that Indian man comes back. When did he tell you to? Prabhupada, what is the business? When did he tell me? And why shall I disclose to you? It is so very insignificant thing that I have to explain to you. Because it's actually very significant, right? I mean, the whole world is saved because of that one instruction. And how it happened, when it happened, where it happened, not for us to know. But it happened, is what he's saying. Indian man, no, I am just curious to know when. Prabhupada, you should be curious within your limit. You should know that one can become guru when he is ordered by his guru. This much. That's the principle. That's what we should be concerned with. Later he asks actually, oh, did Prabhupada get any letter? Doesn't matter, you are not to question that. But he was ordered. He said he's ordered, we have to believe him. That's it. But he has done differently here. He has put in a written order. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he did differently, Prabhupada did differently.
तो अक्सर ऋत्विक्स बोलते हैं कि हम नहीं मानते आपके गुरु सिस्टम को. Why? Because आपके गुरु का तो fall down हुआ है.
It's not that our Ṛtvik system is a reaction to the fall down of the gurus. The fall down of the gurus is a reaction to them disobeying the Ṛtvik system instituted by Śrīla Prabhupāda. It's the opposite. We did not react to it. I mean, we found out about it later after they fell down. Then devotees started to question what is happening. And then they discovered. So the order in which it was discovered, yes, first the gurus fell down and then eventually these things, the documents all surfaced. Just like a doctor, when he diagnoses the patient, he first checks the symptoms. Okay, he has some high temperature, he doesn't have taste, or everything is bitter tasting. Okay, he might be having fever. Okay, then he gives the medicine. Oh, it's a viral fever or something. So first he sees the symptoms, then he comes to understand. That's called a diagnosis. So similarly, the problem was diagnosed by seeing the symptoms of gurus falling down. But if you know anything about how a fever is contracted, first it's the virus that comes, and then it comes, and now our body fights it, and that's when the symptoms of high temperature and all these come. So the virus comes first, and the temperature increase happens later. But in the process of diagnosis, the temperature increase is noticed first, and then a conclusion is made that okay, virus must be there. So the Ṛtvik system is not a reaction to the fall down of the gurus, but the guru fall down is because of the reaction of disobeying the Ṛtvik system order of Prabhupada. This is the proper understanding.
80s के समय में ऐसा हुआ भी था. 80s में कई ऐसे गुरुज थे जिनका फॉल डाउन हुआ, जिनका पतन हुआ, और उनके डिसाइपल्स दे वर वेरी डिसअपॉइंटेड. ऐसा हुआ, और ऐसा होना स्वाभाविक भी था, बिकॉज श्रील प्रभुपाद जी इतने पावरफुल आचार्य हैं. एकदम से उनकी छत्रछाया हटेगी तो फिर कमजोरी तो आएगी. और देखिए, जब आचार्य जाते हैं, भंवर आते हैं, बवंडर आते हैं, तूफान आते हैं, और तूफान में कुछ भक्त कमजोर पड़ के गिर भी जाते हैं. तो क्या 80s में फॉल डाउन हुए गुरुज के? हाँ जी, हुए, बिल्कुल हुए.
Shameless for those who do not know Hindi. So he's saying fall down happened, gurus fell down in the 80s, as if it's not happening now. Recently Giriraj Swami was found to be having sex in a temple room, in front of the deities, and Prabhavishnu Swami fell down in 2011 or 2012. Vipramukhya Swami was found to have fallen very, very badly. Sodomy he did to Gurukul boys. It's horrible. B.B. Govinda Swami. He was dancing like to a Bollywood song, pant, shirt, and in a wedding ceremony of his disciple with moustache and everything, and he was dancing Bollywood song, a very vulgar dance also. This is Guru. And in Russia, I've been to Russia last year. There are so many gurus who are not Prabhupada's disciples, who are disciples of Prabhupada's disciples, whose gurus are still alive, and they became gurus in Russia, and they fell down horribly. It's not just the 1980s, it's still going on. And fall down is just not sexual fall down. Fall down is also when one becomes impersonalist, dry speculator, and talking not in a Krishna conscious way. That is also a fall down. Ramachandra Puri fell down like that. Anyway, now he says the gurus all fell down in the 1980s, and he said it is natural for guru to fall down because Prabhupada's shelter just went away after his departure, and some of the gurus became weak, and they were in other countries. That he will say later in a later clip. They were in other countries, and there was no Sanatan Dharma there, and then because of lack of association, some of them fell. Yes. Hello. How can you treat it as if it's a normal thing? What about the lives of the disciples who gave their lives to the Guru, every day singing Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Śāstric, the Guru is as good as God, and then suddenly fell down? God is Achyuta. How they became Chuta? Weak means you're not Guru. You're Laghu. You're flimsy. You're not a Guru. Don't say you're a Guru then. Words have meanings. Otherwise, why they are words? Don't use the word when it does not mean anything. So how can you say you're a Guru? You're a Laghu. That's what they are. If they're flimsy. Now I will just show who can fall down. The third class person in Krishna consciousness may fall down. But when one is in the second class, he does not fall down. And for the first class person in Krishna consciousness, there's no chance of falling down. So if somebody is falling down, then he's third class devotee. What is the qualification of a Guru, first of all? Upadesha Amrita 1. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jihva vegam udaropastha vegam etan veganyo vishaheta dhira sarvam apimam prithivim cha shishyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. A person who is completely a Gosvāmī, a controller of his senses, he can become a guru. In the Padma Purana, the characteristics of the guru, the bona fide spiritual master, have been described. And I'm reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Amogh Līlā 24.330 purport. Mahabhagavata Shrestho Brahmano Vai Gurur Nirnam. The guru must be situated on the topmost platform of devotional service. He must be a Mahabhagavat, Uttama Adhikari Vaiṣṇava, first class devotee, not Adhama. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.321. Shabde Parecha Nishnatam Brahmanyupashamashrayam. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual masters. So you see, Upashamashraya means fixed in detachment from material affairs. That means they will never go back to material affairs. If he's not on this platform, then he's not guru, he's laghu. Now, I'll take you to another very interesting conversation about Prabhupada, how serious he was about the qualification of a guru. And this kind of, what Amogh Līlā is saying, it's natural for the guru to fall down because, they were weak, Prabhupada's shelter went away. Well, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left this planet, but Prabhupada did not fall. Okay? A pure devotee does not fall. Bona fide guru does not fall. This is a morning walk, December 10th, 1975 in Vrindavan. Akshayananda is asking, I was recently told by one devotee that the Acharya does not have to be a pure devotee. ISKCON, they do this. Okay? They have a whole set of guidelines for what is the conduct of a guru, and they will monitor. A self-effulgent, pure devotee guru does not need this monitoring. But you see here, Akshayananda, I was recently told by one devotee that the Acharya does not have to be a pure devotee. Prabhupada, what? Akshayananda, the Acharya does not have to be a pure devotee. Prabhupada, immediately you see, Prabhupada, who is that rascal? This is the standard. This is the standard we know. This is the standard Prabhupada set for Acharya. That means, do you think he would appoint anyone else who is not of a pure devotee? Akshayananda, well, he said it. Who said it? Prabhupada, who said? Who is that rascal? The Acharya does not require to be a pure devotee? Akshayananda, he said it. Nitai said it. But yet he is sometimes afflicted by passion. So therefore he is saying that it appears that the Acharya does not have to be a pure devotee. So it does not seem right. Prabhupada, who is that rascal? I want to know who has said. Akshayananda, Nyāya dāsa, Hare Kṛṣṇa. Nitai said that? He laughs in disbelief. Prabhupada, who is Nyāya dāsa? Hare Kṛṣṇa, our Nyāya. Akshayananda, Nyāya. Oh, our Nyāya, Prabhupada is saying. Akshayananda, he said he couldn't understand it, but he thought. He said that he thought. Prabhupada immediately. He manufactured his idea. Therefore, he is a rascal. Nyāya has become an authority? Akshayananda says, no, actually he said that he thought. Prabhupada, he thought something rascaldom and he's expressing that. Therefore, he's more rascal. Prabhupada doubled down on it because he was trying to say that no, he just was thinking about it. No, you thought already rascaldom. You are expressing that also in words and disturbing other people's mind, the more rascal. These things are going on, Prabhupada is saying. As soon as he reads some books, he becomes an acharya, whatever rascal he may be. How many times he used the word rascal, you see, by the way? Akshayananda. So there's no doubt that Lord Brahma is a pure devotee? Prabhupada. Whatever he may be, he is acharya. So then Krishna is also passionate. Krishna danced with so many gopis, therefore he is passionate. These things are to be seen in this way that such exalted person, he sometimes becomes passionate. So how much we shall be careful. This is the instruction. Then we petty persons, how much we shall be careful. It is not that Acharya has become passionate, therefore I shall become passionate. I am strict follower of the Acharya. Oh, he is passionate, I am also passionate. Strict follower of Acharya. Passionate Acharya. These rascals say, Prabhupada is saying, see? Harishari. So Lord Brahma is being attracted to his daughter, that is just as an example. Prabhupada. So why you discuss this? Therefore you shall be attracted with your daughter, mother? Do you think so? Like that? Harishari. No. Indian man. In this world, this is our disease. Prabhupada. Yes, that disease, Brahma, Lord Shiva also, he was attracted to the Mohini. So they are Ishvara, they are controllers. So the instruction is that even such personalities may be sexually attracted. So how much we shall remain careful. This is the instruction. How Prabhupada is condemning this? Oh, fall down, it's natural, actually they fell down. Then they should not have become gurus. They were not authorized, they are not qualified, nothing. Simply sitting there and taking all the worship and cheating all the innocent devotees. Not just in 80s, until now it's still going on. I want to actually show a couple of other fall downs because this is also important. This is the case of Ramachandrapuri. Eije Shri Madhavendra Shripad Upeksha Karela Shaya Paradhe Ihara Vasana Janmila. So Ramachandrapuri, he offended Madhavendrapuri, his spiritual master. Ramachandrapuri was thus denounced by Madhavendrapuri. Due to his offense, gradually material desire appeared within him. Purport. The word vasana, material desires, refers to dry speculative knowledge. So if the spiritual master is displeased, one can fall down even by being like this. Not just sexually falling down. Going to dry speculative knowledge instead of Krishna consciousness. If one becomes an offender to his spiritual master or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he falls down to the material platform to merely speculate. So this is also a fall down, although it is usually not counted as a fall down. So 11.18.30 Srimad Bhagavatam. Vedavadara tonasyan napa shandina haitukah shushkavada vivadena kanchit paksham samashrayet. A devotee should never engage in the fruitive rituals mentioned in the Karmakanda section of the Vedas, nor should he become atheistic, acting or speaking in opposition to Vedic injunctions. Similarly, he should never speak like a mere logician or skeptic or take any side whatsoever in useless arguments. Of course, in useful arguments, yes, what we are doing now is a useful argument because it's very pertinent to spiritual life, very relevant.
पर अगर कोई गिर जाता है, अगर मान लो आपके सामने कोई गिर जाए तो आप क्या करेंगे? उस बात को आप ढिढोरा पीटेंगे, देखो देखो वो गिर गया, टू 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 गिर गया, अरे आप ये करेंगे या उसे जाके उठाएंगे, ए भाई देखो चोट नहीं लगी, उठो उठो उठो, उसको झाड़ेंगे, उसको कुछ हैंडी प्लास लगाएंगे, उसको कुछ सपोर्ट सिस्टम देंगे. ये इंसान के तौर पे हम करेंगे, भक्त की बात नहीं, इंसान के तौर पे. इस तरह से अगर कोई भक्त जिसने 30-40 साल सेवा की, उस बाद एक ऐसी परिस्थिति में था जिसमें वो कमजोर पड़ गया, उसका पतन हो गया, तो उसके 20-25-30 साल की सेवा को मारे लात, और सही जो गलती होगी ना उसको लेके हम ढिढोरा पीटेंगे इंटरेक्ट में, देखो देखो गिर गया, अरे गिर गया, गिर गया, अरे गिर गया. अब ऐसा व्यक्ति भक्त तो दूर की बात, इंसान भी है या नहीं है, आप खुद डिसाइड करके.
So he's saying, oh, if a guru falls down, forget about guru falling down. If somebody falls down, would you laugh at him, or you actually go down to him and say, hey, what happened? Can I help in any way? You bring some plaster and give some support system to that person. So this is just humanitarian way. What to speak of bhakta? Bhakta should be much more compassionate than this. So if a guru falls down, then he should be helped, is what he's saying. He should be helped. And it's not that we celebrate or we point out and criticize. Okay, what if he raped his disciple? I'm not saying if somebody falls down we should not help. Guru cannot fall down. If he's falling down, he's not guru. He's not even worthy. He is not eligible to become guru. There is zero tolerance for a guru to fall down. Guru not only is so strong that he himself can go back to Godhead, but anybody who takes to his instructions also can go back to Godhead. Prabhupada said, you hold on to my dhoti, I will take you back to Godhead. That is the strength of a pure devotee. Not that I will also fall down with you. I'll slip and fall down if you hold my dhoti. So if he himself cannot maintain his spiritual discipline and maintain his status as a devotee, how can he lead others? What strength he will have? What will happen to the lives of the disciples? Are their lives a joke? Now their faith is all shattered. Every day they were morning, Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Śāstric, oh, he is as good as God, my guru. And then suddenly he finds out that, he swindled money, or he ran away with a woman, or worse still, homosexual, or pedophile. I mean, I'm not even making these up. These have actually happened. This is the history in ISKCON. The moment we disobey the order of the spiritual master, we are gone. We are done. Finished. Only a Uttamadhikari and not just qualification, order also should be there. He should be ordered by Prabhupada, and that order is not there. So Prabhupada gave a very blanket order, that is Ṛtvik system for everybody. Everybody becomes Prabhupada disciple. Very safe. This whole system is a bogus nonsense. There's no guarantee that your guru is going to be a pure devotee. Your guru can fall down. One will run the risk at any time. And there's a law book, ISKCON law book. I've shown this in the Ṛtvik system course that I did in the 4th video of that 5-video series. What to do when a guru falls down, whether we should reject, in what conditions we should not reject a fallen guru. It is just horrible. The whole thing is just atrocious. Prabhupada, just one mention that when somebody said, oh, guru does not need to be a pure devotee. He did not even say fall down. Does not need to be a pure devotee. Immediately rascal, 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 more rascal, more rascal. How many times he's saying? And you see here, they're saying, oh, it is natural, it's okay, we should be compassionate, we should not criticize. Then why Prabhupada criticized? So, for example, Prabhupada was in United States of America. Such unfavorable circumstances, right? But he did not fall down. That is guru. That is guru. If he's falling down, he is laghu. Now they say, oh, we should not ridicule them. Oh, after 30-40 years, if he has fallen down, we should not ridicule them. Earlier he said, oh, 40 years he has done service, still he cannot be guru. What is this? He said like that earlier in the video. Now he's saying after 40 years he fell. We should not discount all his service of 40 years just because of one thing. Usually these things are not one-off events. They are premeditated, and after doing many times they get caught. Getting caught is not one time when they fell down. No. They have been fallen. They've been caught fallen. Then they have another logic. In another video, another ISKCON devotee was explaining 13-year-old mother logic. Our one guru, he named somebody. He said, very honestly, we ISKCON gurus are like 13-year-old mothers. Oh, at 13 years old, she's still a small girl. She would need care of her mother, but at the same time, she became mother. So similarly, we ISKCON gurus have taken responsibility of our disciples, but we still are, immature. We need guidance from, or we need shelter of Prabhupada. So we're like the 13-year-old mothers, shameless fellows, coming up with nonsense ideas. Another logic is broken bus logic. If you are going from point A to point B and you take a bus, and then in the middle the bus breaks down, what do? You don't cry, oh my bus broke down. No, you just take a next bus and go. Whatever next bus, you just go. So similarly, if our guru falls down, it's like a broken bus, and we just take another guru and then continue the journey from there. No need to be so despondent or shattered or something like that. Just continue. This is their idea of guru. When disciples do not stick to the principle of accepting the order of their spiritual master, immediately there are two opinions. Any opinion different from the opinion of the spiritual master is useless. One cannot infiltrate materially concocted ideas into spiritual advancement. That is deviation. There is no scope for adjusting spiritual advancement to material ideas. These are all material ideas. 13-year-old mother, broken bus. What is this nonsense? And another logic they have. One ISKCON devotee was arguing with me. It's okay if the guru falls down. The Shishya can help, the disciple can help take the guru back to Godhead. What is the need for guru then? They quote this. They say, oh, I'm talking about in Shastra, they say. Okay, first we'll go to 4.12.32 and then 4.12.33. Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva was seated in the transcendental airplane, which was just about to start towards Vaikuntha, when he remembered his poor mother Suniti. He thought to himself, how shall I go alone to the Vaikuntha planet and leave behind my poor mother? Now, next verse. The great associates of Vaikuntha Loka, Nanda and Sunanda, could understand the mind of Dhruva Maharaj, and thus they showed him that his mother Suniti was going forward in another plane. Now, in the purport, Prabhupada mentions something interesting. Can be carried by the disciple even though the instructor is not as advanced. Although Suniti was an instructor to Dhruva Maharaj, she could not go to the forest because she was a woman, nor could she execute austerities and penances as Dhruva Maharaj did. Still, Dhruva Maharaj was able to take his mother with him. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj also delivered his atheistic father Hiranyakashipu. The conclusion is that a disciple or an offspring who is a very strong devotee can carry with him to Vaikuntha Loka either his father, mother, or Śikṣā or Dīkṣā Guru. Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, if I could perfectly deliver even one soul back home, back to Godhead, I would think my mission of propagating Krishna consciousness to be successful. The Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world, and sometimes I think that even though I am crippled in many ways, if one of my disciples becomes as strong as Dhruva Maharaj, then he will be able to carry me with him to Vaikuntha Loka. Now, Prabhupada said this, right? Is there an example in our Shastra where a guru was taken by his disciple? Now, we're not talking about Suniti here. She is just a Vartma Pradarshaka Guru, not a Dīkṣā Guru. Dīkṣā Guru of Dhruva Maharaj was Narad Muni. He cannot take Narad Muni back to Godhead. Narad Muni is already at Godhead. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, oh, if I can make one pure devotee, my life is successful. Now, Prabhupada is saying, oh, I am crippled in many ways, but if one of my disciples become as strong as Dhruva Maharaj, they can take me back. These is all statements of humility of the pure devotees. Vartma Pradarshaka Guru means the one who shows him Krishna consciousness. First one to bring him to the path of Krishna consciousness. Suniti, the mother of Dhruva Maharaj, happened to be his Vartma Pradarshaka Guru. So she was not as advanced. And Prahlad Maharaj's father, Hiranyakashipu, was an atheist. He was not a Dīkṣā Guru of any sort. In these examples, those gurus, the superiors who were delivered by the inferiors, were not very high-grade devotees. Now, although Prabhupada said like the Śikṣā or even Dīkṣā Gurus, but he himself is a pure devotee. He is just out of his humility saying that, oh, one of my disciples can take me back to Godhead if they're as strong as Dhruva Maharaj. We cannot take these statements of humility to be actual true statements. Otherwise, why would Prabhupada say rascal, rascal, rascal when somebody in Nitai said, oh, Guru doesn't have to be a pure devotee. Immediately, how many times you said rascal? Why did he say that then? So we should understand Prabhupada in this way. Just like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji said, oh, when I die, drag my body in the streets of Navadvip. So when he actually departed, some people actually came to drag his body. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur stopped. He said out of humility he has said that, but we should know better to honor the spiritualized body of the spiritual master with the greatest of honors. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu honored the body of Haridas Thakur when Haridas Thakur left his body. So like that we have to honor. We should not be foolish enough to take their statements at face value and actually drag their body on the ground. So this is how disciples should understand. There is one story like this. A guru who had foolish disciples, very strict followers, but foolish followers. What kind of strict followers? So they were going in a bullock cart with his guru. So the Guru Maharaj slept. So eventually the road became a little bumpy. Then some things fell. Then after some time, they did not pick it up. They just continued. Then Guru Maharaj woke up after some time. He was looking for that. I forget the object what it was. Where is this? He said, no, it fell down. Why did you not pick it up? So many of you are there. Did you see or did you not see? No, we saw. We saw it falling. Then why did you not pick it up? No, we did not receive an order from you to pick it up. So we are strictly your order followers, order carriers. So we did not receive your order, so we did not pick it up. He was like, okay. He listed all the items on the bullock cart. So if any of these things fall, pick it up. Then he slept again. So the road became so bumpy that the spiritual master himself fell out of the bullock cart. Then the disciples looked at the list. Okay, Guru Maharaj is not there in the list. Okay, don't pick him up. The Guru Maharaj was shouting, hey, pick me up. What are you doing? What are you doing? And they are like, no, your name is not there. He was like, what kind of disciples I have? So we should understand the mood of the spiritual master in the proper way. Oh, Prabhupada said, see, Shishya can deliver Guru. So, yes, Shishya should deliver Guru. He's saying it out of humility. Where in the history you can find a Dīkṣā Guru delivered by his disciple? Superiors like father or, mother, something like this, like in the case of Prahlad and Dhruva Maharaj. Prahlad's father, Dhruva Maharaj's mother. That is different. But Dīkṣā Guru should be highly elevated. Mahabhagavata Shrestha. He has to be a first-class devotee. Nectar of Instruction, first verse of Upadeshamrita. He has to be absolute controller of his senses. Pure devotee only can be controller of his senses. And only he can accept disciples all over the world. So these wrong nonsense philosophies are going on in ISKCON. And this is very nicely stated in that verse itself, 11.5.5. Vipro rajanya vaishava hare praptah padantikam shrautena janmanathapi muhyanti amnaya vadinaham. On the other hand, Brahmanas, members of the royal order and Vaishyas, even after being allowed to approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Hari, by receiving the second birth of Vedic initiation, can become bewildered and adopt various materialistic philosophies. They are allowed to approach the lotus feet of Lord Hari, these ISKCON people, but they're adopting various materialistic philosophies. All these materialistic concocted ideas they're putting into spiritual advancement. He named some devotees, Jayapata Gosvāmī, Radhanath Swami, Gopal Krishna Goswami, Bhaktacharya Swami, Gaur Govind Swami, Tamāla Krishna Goswami, Lokanath Swami, Radha Govind Swami, Bhaktivika Swami. And he says, see, not only there are examples of fallen gurus, there are also very greatly accomplished gurus who are, Mahabhagavats, Paramahamsas. He used these words. I did not put that there because honestly, some of these personalities, I can make exclusive videos on them, how much they have deviated from Prabhupada. And this is not Vaiṣṇava Ninda. People will always say, oh, this is Vaiṣṇava Ninda. Then they are doing Prabhupada Ninda. What about that? Prabhupada's order, they fully not only are disobeying, but also making a mockery of it. They're poking fun at it. They're calling it Ṛtvik Mayavad. When we say Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Prabhupada's Pranati Mantra has Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. He has come to chase away impersonalism and voidism. But they are saying his Ṛtvik system, which is his mercy for the next 10,000 years, he is keeping us safe. They're calling it Mayavad. How offensive this is. Rascaldom, nonsense.
तो ऐसे disciples भी हुए हैं जी श्रीला प्रभुपाद जी के, लेकिन हम इनको नहीं देखेंगे. हम सिर्फ नेगेटिव एग्जांपल्स को देखेंगे जो रिलेटिव में हुए थे, और लेकर बोलते रहे देखो ये गुरु सिस्टम जो है किसी काम का नहीं, देखो ये गुरु गिर गए, ये वो गिर गए, वो गुरु गिर गए, वो गिर गए, वो गुरु गिर गए, और इसमें बोले गुरु जी भी गिर गए, इसलिए हम इस जो सिस्टम है गुरु सिस्टम उसको हम नहीं मानते. नहीं सर, अच्छे वाले एग्जांपल्स नहीं, हम अच्छे एग्जांपल पे फोकस नहीं करेंगे.
So he's saying, yes, some have fallen, but I have given you some examples of these gurus who are very, very accomplished, very pure devotees, Mahabhagavas, Paramahamsas, he says. But the Ṛtviks only choose to see the bad examples and not see the good examples. We are not even talking about bad or good examples here. We have a very simple litmus test. Prabhupada's order, if they are following, that's good. The moment they disobey, and willfully so, immediately they are fallen. Whoever it may be, however great they may be, whatever service they may have done. You see, the only reason ISKCON is still standing is because Śrīla Prabhupāda's books are being distributed. But the problem is, the Prabhupāda's books going into the hands of the devotees is not bringing them to Prabhupada in the end. They're giving Prabhupada books as bait, getting them in, and then they surrender to this guru, that guru, and then it's all very diluted. See, such a big preacher of ISKCON, Amogh Līlā, and what is he speaking? How powerful you should be in your preaching. He's talking like, with the mannerisms in which he speaks and the subject which he's speaking, everything is so shallow and full of faults. Full of faults. This is how they're speaking. Later, he will say something even more horrible. We're coming to that. The most offensive clip of this entire video, how he blasphemed Prabhupada. And that is the result of a person who is completely misled. And if he is the topmost, one of the top devotees of ISKCON, top preachers, imagine the rest of the lot. They're unnecessarily, the people are coming out of sincerity. They're introducing them to these kind of preachers, and this is what they will learn. How to blaspheme Prabhupada. This is what they're learning. Institutionalizing blasphemy.
देखिए अभी ये जो गुरु सिस्टम है जिसको कि हमारे ऋत्विक भाई लोग फॉलो करते हैं, जिसमें वो मानते हैं कि हम जो है दीक्षा कराएंगे आपके प्रभुपाद जी से. ये करंट जनरेशन गुरु लोग किसी काम के नहीं. So we can jump over them and we can go to Śrīla Prabhupāda for Dīkṣā. ओ तो यानी हम करंट गुरुज को जंप कर सकते हैं और प्रभुपाद जी से दीक्षा ले सकते हैं। तो अगर जंप ही करना है तो प्रभुपाद जी से दीक्षा क्यों लें? उनके गुरु महाराज से दीक्षा लेते हैं। फिर हम बोलेंगे वेल श्री प्रभुपाद, वेल माय गॉड ब्रदर, यू नो, या उनसे भी क्या लेना। और कुछ सकते हैं ऐसे, अरे चलते तो सीधे सीधा महाप्रभु से दीक्षा लेते हैं। हम श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य महाप्रभु के शिष्य हैं, ये आगे जाकर के हमारे डिसाइपल्स हुए, उनसे भी क्या, उनके भी गुरु ईश्वरपुरी से दीक्षा लेते हैं। सो हम बोलेंगे देखो ये गौरंग महाप्रभु, माय गॉड ब्रदर, यू नो, मेरे गुरु भाई, अरे सुनने में कितना अजीब लगता है ना ये। सो एक्चुअली अजीब है, इसलिए अजीब लगता है, ये नॉनसेंसिकल है, इसलिए नॉनसेंसिकल लगता है। तो इसे क्या हम करंट जनरेशन के गुरुज को स्किप कर सकते हैं और आगे जा सकते हैं? वेल दैट्स सो ऑफेंसिव। कितना ऑफेंसिव है एंड फुल ऑफ एरोगेंस, कितना घमंड है इस भाव के अंदर कि हम गुरुजनों को नहीं मानेंगे, हम आगे किसी और गुरु से लेंगे और ऊपर। अब तो सीधे कृष्ण भगवान से ले लो फिर तुम, और क्या। नहीं तो जब जंप भी करना तो बड़ा वाला जंप लगाते हैं, ये छोटा वाला जंप क्या है?
The Ṛtvik say we don't need to surrender to any guru, we can jump over to Prabhupada. So he says if jumping over to previous acharya, then I can jump to any previous acharyas. Why not? I can go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu itself or Ishwarpuri itself, or I can jump all the way to Krishna. Why? If I want to jump, I should rather jump biggest jump. Why small jump? He says this is arrogance, this is full of pride, no respect for acharya. We cannot jump. We should approach the current link in the sampradaya. And who is the current link? Not the person who is physically present. We will show you now. Prabhupada says, Srimad Bhagavatam 297, as already stated, Brahma is the original spiritual master for the universe, and since he was initiated by the Lord himself, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam is coming down by disciplic succession, and in order to receive the real message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. Now, that means the present spiritual master, right? I mean, living spiritual master. Well, no. Next verse. Just the next verse after this, 298 purport, he says this, his acceptance, that means Lord Brahma's acceptance of the sound, because he heard actually first the Lord. Tapa, he heard only. He did not see the Lord, he heard the Lord. And then he executed tapasya, austerity. His acceptance, Brahma's acceptance of the sound was due to his pure vision of the absolute nature of the Lord. And due to his correct vision, he made no distinction between the Lord and the Lord's instruction. There is no difference between the Lord and the sound vibration coming from him, even though he is not personally present. The best way of understanding is to accept such divine instruction, and Brahma, the prime spiritual master of everyone, is a living example of this process of receiving transcendental knowledge. The potency of transcendental sound is never minimized because the vibrator is apparently absent. So, in the previous verse, he said current link. Here, he is saying the instruction is what we need to follow. Even if the vibrator is apparently absent, if the transcendental sound is there, the potency is never minimized. So that means if the current link does not have to be physically, personally present, what is the meaning of the word, the phrase current link? Just like Brahma, for example, our Sampradaya Acharya, he took instructions from his spiritual master, Lord Vishnu, whom he could not see. Prahlad Maharaj took instructions from Narad Muni, although he could not see him. The Guru is always there. Now you may say, no, actually Narad Muni was physically present there, or Vishnu also was physically present, he could not see him. So similarly, Prabhupada is also present. It's not that he's not present. In his instructions, he's present. When we are reading, Prabhupada said, I will live in my books. What does that mean? We are unable to see him. He is unmanifest to our eyes, but he is present. Just as much as Krishna is present, but is unmanifest to our eyes. You think Krishna is not present? And when we say Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastra, is Prabhupada not present in his teachings? So we should understand this properly. The current link does not mean physically present Guru. No. Even if he is apparently absent, if the vibration is there, we should understand that the vibration is non-different from the Guru. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, this is Bhagavad Gita 4.1. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivasvan manave praham manurikshvakave bravit. The personality of Godhead Lord Sri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Instructed. Praha, abravit, proktavan. All these words means instructed, not seen. Of course, they might have seen, but the main thing is instructed. That is the key. Hearing. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakalene hamahata yogo nashtaha parantapa. Viduhu means understood. They spoke, the disciples understood. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. So when the science is lost, that's when the succession is said to be broken. Otherwise, it's not broken. The science is as it is. In fact, these so-called gurus who are laghus in ISKCON, they are writing books which are watered down in philosophy. Like actually he mentioned in this video, which I did not mention, oh, Radhanath Swami wrote this book, Journey Home, Journey Within, all Mayavad nonsense inside. Hardly any glorification of Prabhupada and holy name. He got the holy name from Mother Ganga and not even from Prabhupada. Is just one of the mentions of many other saints, so-called saints he mentioned, yogis and mystics. Complete rubbish books, bestsellers. He called them bestsellers. So that is called distortion. The Yogo Nashta Parantava. Prabhupada never wrote such books. We have established this point that the current link is Śrīla Prabhupāda. And his books are still preaching. Even now, if somebody makes somebody devotee, how he is becoming devotee? Prabhupada's books. That is what is really making anybody a devotee. So Prabhupada is very much present and he is the current link. There was precedence. Even Narottam Das Thakur's disciple is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. 200 years gap is there. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur served Narottam Das Thakur, it is said. And Narottam Das Thakur accepted the service. The direct disciple of Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Gosvāmī was Śrīla Narottam Das Thakur, who accepted Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti as his servitor. How did he accept? So we should understand this correctly. We are not having any ghamand, we are not having any pride. These gurus, so-called gurus actually who are laghus, they are having the pride. They are occupying Prabhupada's post and usurping the whole movement. That is pride, not we. We are actually humble in accepting Prabhupada's instruction.
अगर वो 50 साल भगवान का नाम लेता है, गीता भागवत का प्रचार करता है, उसके बावजूद भी आज वो गुरु बनने के लायक नहीं है, तो कहीं ना कहीं क्वेश्चन मार्क है भगवद गीता के ऊपर, कहीं ना कहीं क्वेश्चन मार्क है श्रीमद् भागवतम के ऊपर, कहीं ना कहीं क्वेश्चन मार्क है भगवान के नाम के ऊपर कि इतना नाम लेने के बाद भी, इतना गीता भागवत पढ़ने और पढ़ाने के बावजूद भी गुरु बनने के लायक नहीं हो. Logically makes sense? Absolutely not.
Hate the way he speaks. 40-50 years he has done service, even then he cannot become guru, he's saying. Well, earlier he said, oh, after 30-40 years he became weak and he fell down. We should not discount his 30 years of service. The guru should be still helped. So after 30-40 years, you can still fall down, right? So that means 30-40 years, you already qualified to become guru. What is that? That does not qualify one to become guru. One can be a Shiksha-guru and guide others. What is the problem? For 100 years you can preach, 200 years you can preach and be a Shiksha-guru. What is the big problem? Why one has to become Dīkṣā-guru? Prabhupada is already Dīkṣā-guru. And he's saying, oh, holy now, Bhagavad Gita, if after 50 years also, one cannot be qualified to become a guru, then questions are raised, about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and the holy name. Can they be taken as potent enough to deliver someone? Again, the same point. Earlier he said, oh, Prabhupada could not make even one devotee, one pure devotee, one Diksha Guru. Now they are saying Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, holy name cannot make even one pure devotee. They don't have that Shakti. Again, it's not the potency of the scriptures or the Guru or the holy name. It's about the fertility of the disciple. How fertile he is depends on us. Just like the Prabhupada said, another example, Guru is like the bird, leading bird. In a formation they go. In the evenings you can see. The leading bird goes and then all the other birds, follower birds, they follow that leader bird. And wherever the leader bird goes, they also follow. Now they also have to flap their wings. Not that, oh, leader bird is going and I just don't need to do anything. I just rest. No, I have to flap my wings and follow the path. So Guru will show the way. He is potent to take us back. But if I don't hold on to the instructions of the Guru, then how can I be saved? For example, if I'm in the well, if I'm fell into a deep well and somebody hands down a rope, and if he's a strong man and he can pull us out, but if I don't hold on to the rope properly, how is he going to pull me up? That's the idea. So we can't put the blame on Guru, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, the holy name, doubt their potency. No, we don't have doubt in this. We have doubt in these people who are saying I'm Guru, but when they're Laghu, they have not taken up to the process properly. First of all, they're offending Prabhupada. What holy name mercy they will have? Offense, Guru or Avagya? Now we come to the most offensive clip of this entire video.
देखिए जब भी कोई गुरु सिस्टम होता है ना, उसके अंदर गुरु के पास ये स्वेच्छा होती है कि वो डिसाइपल को हाँ या ना कह सके. हो सकता है गुरु बोले देखो अभी तुम इसके लायक नहीं हो दीक्षा के, अगले साल अप्लाई करना, अभी तुम थोड़े कच्चे हो, ठीक है ना. तो गुरु के पास ना कहने की ये ऑप्शन रहती है. लेकिन ये जो ऋत्विक सिस्टम है ना, इसमें ना कहने की ऑप्शन नहीं, बिकॉज प्रभुपाद जी आज किस रूप में है? विग्रह रूप में. आज जो ऋत्विक इनिशिएशन होती है उसमें तो विग्रह को लिस्ट दी जाती है. ये आज से आपका शिष्य है. आप कुछ बोलेंगे? बोलोगे? कैसे बोलेंगे? विग्रह कैसे बोलेंगे रे? So actually देखा जाए ऋत्विक सिस्टम इज इलॉजिकल. व्हाई? बिकॉज यहाँ पर तो गुरु के पास ऑप्शन नहीं, यस नो बोलने की. सारा यस नो कौन करेगा? अपन बोलेगा रे. अपन ऋत्विक गुरु कह रहे हैं, हम बोलेंगे यस नो.
Rascal. That's an understatement actually. Prabhupada, who's the founder Acharya, who said I'm in my picture and I'm in my murti, and every day we are actually offering Guru Puja in front of his murti. Now this video, this clip he cut off. This 12 seconds he cut off. We have the older video, so we still have that clip. Basically he's saying a guru has the option to say no to somebody. But in a Ṛtvik system, the Prabhupada cannot say no, because how is he going to say no? A list of so-called initiates will be put in front of him, and he's saying, "Oh, Prabhupada, you want to say something? You want to say something?" How can he say? He cannot say because he's just a vigraha. Evil laughter. How is he going to say anything, man? That's what he said. Absolute rubbish. Even if he considers Prabhupada as his predecessor Acharya and not his personal guru, is that how we respect predecessor Acharya? In that case, then Krishna is also in vigraha form, right? Then how is he eating your offering? How are you eating prasadam? We have stories of Sakshi Gopal where he talked and walked. I may not be qualified to deal with the deity, but Prabhupada is fully there, not only in the Murti, but also in his books and his instructions. This guy doesn't understand anything at all. So offensive. This is offensive. How much ghamand he has to speak like this. And how did it even pass the editorial review of ISKCON and came out into the public video? When he received backlash from devotees within and without ISKCON, then he removed that 12-minute clip he removed from that video. Otherwise, the first round, it went through the editorial review, whatever, I don't know who is sanctioning these videos. First of all, to even say something like that is very horrible. And to say something and edit it and actually put it there, publish it confidently. How offensive you have to be to say something like that to Prabhupada? It just shows this guy doesn't have any strength of sadhana, nothing. I don't know what he's doing. How can he even remotely in the mind even say like something like this to Prabhupada? And coming back to the point of Prabhupada having no say in this, even in his physical manifest presence, Prabhupada actually delegated that responsibility to Ṛtviks. They don't even have to consult Prabhupada. Prabhupada did not even have to know anything about who is becoming disciple, who is not. But of course, spiritually there is connection. But Prabhupada is not, he has removed himself completely from that decision of whether to accept or not by empowering the Ṛtviks, who in turn empower, of course, the temple presidents who actually recommend him, the prospective disciple, they are the ones who make the call whether he or she is qualified or not. Even when Prabhupada was actually giving the names, he just depended on the temple president's recommendation. He did not personally see. Same thing is going on. What is different now? As if today's ISKCON gurus actually check. You want me to believe that? That's not happening. They're also just temple presidents. They recommend and then they're just chanting, or even they have their own Ṛtviks who are chanting. I have seen Jayapata Gosvāmī has Ṛtviks. How is he going to chant for his thousands of disciples who take initiation from him? Of course he has Ṛtviks under him. And he does not personally know any of them. So where is the checking going on? Very shallow arguments, very, very shallow arguments. Srimad Bhagavatam, Yasya Sakshat Bhagavati Jnana Deepa Prade Gurau Martya Sadhehi Shrutam Tasya Sarvam Kunjara Shauchavat. The spiritual master should be considered to be directly the Supreme Lord because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. Consequently, for one who maintains the material conception that the spiritual master is an ordinary human being, everything is frustrated. His enlightenment and his Vedic studies and knowledge are like the bathing of an elephant. Elephant goes to the river, takes a bath for 1 hour and then comes back on the land, throws sand on his body, becomes dirty again. So it's like that. It's useless. And in the next verse, purport, Prabhupada says even more emphatically, the spiritual master is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore one who is very serious about spiritual advancement must regard the spiritual master in this way. Even a slight deviation from this understanding can create disaster in the disciples' Vedic studies and austerities. 329.17. Mahatam Bahumanena, the pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas.
There is one devotee का नाम है राधा रमन महाराज. उनकी दीक्षा होनी थी प्रभुपाद जी से. प्रभुपाद ने कहा तुम जो है मेरे डिसाइपल राधा गोविंद स्वामी से दीक्षा लो. और बाद में उनकी दीक्षा हुई राधा गोविंद महाराज से भी. प्रभुपाद जी खुद ही इंस्ट्रक्शन दे रहे हैं. तो प्रभुपाद जी की उपस्थिति में क्या ऐसा हुआ इवन ड्यूरिंग हिज लास्ट डेज कि प्रभुपाद जी ने किसी को बोला हो that you take Diksha from my disciple? The answer is big yes.
There is no credible source for this story at all. There is no recorded conversations, no letters, nothing. You see, Prabhupada instituted this July 9th letter to all GBC temple presidents. When he gave such an unequivocal order to everyone, then he makes some other arrangement for someone, then again people will get confused, right? This was a very clear order. Prabhupada did like that.
अमोघ लीला दास और मेरे ऐसे कई सारे डिसाइपल्स हैं, डिवोटीज हैं जो प्रचार प्रसार कर रहे हैं. ये प्रचार की शक्ति हमें भला कहां से आती है? वेल ये गुरु सिस्टम से आती है. तो ये जो हमारा गुरु सिस्टम है जो आज हम ISKCON इंडिया के अंदर फॉलो करते हैं, इट इज एम्पावरिंग सो मेनी डिवोटीज ऑल अक्रॉस द ग्लोब. उसमें से एक छोटा सा दास है अमोघ लीला दास. तो अगर ये बोनाफाइड ऑथेंटिक परंपरा नहीं होती तो हमें भला शक्ति कहां से आती? हम प्रचार प्रसार कैसे करते? हम चचा कर रहे होते. बट दैट्स इट.
I think that's what he's doing. So he is saying that I, Amogh Līlā dāsa, and many other preachers like me, actually in other part of the video he mentioned even Gaur Gopal Das and many others. How are we becoming empowered to preach? Because we are empowered by this ISKCON guru system. If not for that, what we will be doing? So actually that's what he's doing. And it's not a guru system, it's a laghu system. It's a very flimsy system, and that's why he's like this. He's offending Prabhupada horrendously, and his offense was on full display. See, his whole way of talking, there's no gravity, there is no heaviness that you expect from a spiritually advanced person. It's a very irritating way of speaking. Why would Arjuna ask this question? 254 Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna uvacha sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sthitadhihi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? He's asking these questions. Why? Because there is a method, a mannerism in which one should conduct oneself. I'm sorry, but Amogh Līlā is not fitting that mold. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak, and certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him, and that too favorably. Anukulyena Krishnanushīlanam, not unfavorably. Otherwise, Kamsa also was Krishna conscious, always thinking of Krishna but unfavorably. But a devotee always speaks and thinks of Krishna favorably. Not only of Krishna but also his pure devotees like Śrīla Prabhupāda, not like blaspheme him like this. So there's a way how to speak. I don't find that in him. I think many sane people can agree with that.
लेकिन अगर एकदम ऐसे बोले कि मैं तुमको आदेश देता हूं कि आज से तुम ही दीक्षा गुरु हो, ऐसा कोई लेटर है? वह ऐसा कोई लेटर तो ऑफ कोर्स हालांकि नहीं, लेकिन वो पूछा अच्छा प्रभुपाद जी को ऐसा कोई लेटर मिला अपने अपने गुरु महाराज जी से? आंसर इज नो.
So he's saying, can we in ISKCON say that Prabhupada said to somebody, okay, here is the letter, now you become guru? Do we have? He says no, we don't have any such direct letter to anyone. But if you want to ask that, then Prabhupada also did not have any letter from his guru authorizing him. Prabhupada was qualified and he took it up. Automatic, he was saying. Guru can become guru when he's ordered by his guru, that's all. Otherwise, nobody can become guru. You should know that one can become guru when he's ordered by his guru, this much. But Prabhupada is very emphatically saying that he did order me. When and how, you don't need to ask me that, Prabhupada is saying. Now, Prabhupada authorized the system in the form of letter. Not every guru would do the same way. Different gurus may adopt different ways how they would conduct their mission. And that includes how the movement should run in the future. For example, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, form a governing body commission and cooperatively work. And Prabhupada mentioned that he wanted that eventually a self-effulgent Acharya will emerge and he will be the next. That was how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur envisaged the future of his movement. But Prabhupada did it a little differently. He gave a Ṛtvik order, that's it. Even if somebody is pure devotee in the future, he can still follow the Ṛtvik system and everybody can take shelter of Prabhupada and read Prabhupada books and make it back to Godhead under the guidance of pure devotee Śikṣā-gurus, like those pure devotees who may become in the future. The system still holds without any problem. So every Acharya has his own ways. This is actually very nicely explained. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 737. As an ideal Acharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu devised ways to capture all kinds of atheists and materialists. Similarly, Prabhupada also devised this Ṛtvik system to capture all the souls in the future. Every Acharya has a specific means of propagating his spiritual movement with the aim of bringing men to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, the method of one Acharya may be different from that of another, but the ultimate goal is never neglected. For the future of the Kali Yuga, this is Prabhupada's mercy, Ṛtvik system. So they can all be secure. Nobody needs to doubt whether my guru is actually a pure devotee or not, whether he can take me back or not. I don't have to worry about anything. Completely secure. So this is the beauty of this Ṛtvik system. Adilila 7.31 and 32. Seeing that the Mayavadis and others were fleeing, Lord Chaitanya thought, I wanted everyone to be immersed in his inundation of love of Godhead, but some of them have escaped. Therefore, I shall devise a trick to drown them also. And if you see the Bengali, Ranga, trick. Here is an important point. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to invent a way to capture the Mayavadis and others who did not take interest in the Krishna consciousness movement. This is the symptom of an Acharya. An Acharya who comes for the service of the Lord cannot be expected to conform to a stereotype, for he must find the ways and means by which Krishna consciousness may be spread. Therefore, what we are doing is perfect by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for it is he who proposed to invent a way to capture those who strayed from Krishna consciousness. Similarly, to extend the mercy, to capture the conditioned souls, in the future, Śrīla Prabhupāda has instituted the Ṛtvik system. How merciful of him to do that. Madhya 10.137 purport. Here you see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, both the Supreme Personality of Godhead and my spiritual master Ishwar Puri are completely independent. Therefore, neither the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead nor that of Ishwar Puri is subject to any Vedic rules and regulations. The mercy of the Acharya is not subject to the Vedic rules and regulations. So sometimes ISKCON people say, oh, this is apasiddhantik. Ṛtvik. You're not there in any Siddhanta. It doesn't have to be. Actually, Siddhanta wise, it is not against. The thing is, the spiritual master must enlighten the disciple and take him back to Godhead, and that is completely perfectly happening even with the Ṛtvik system. But they think it is not traditional, it is something invented, and therefore apasiddhantik, avaidik, aśāstric. The mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master is not subject to any Vedic rules and regulations, and this is an act of mercy. Then 10.136 Madhya purport. In answer to this question, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied that his spiritual master Ishwar Puri was so empowered that he was as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As such, Ishwar Puri was the spiritual master of the whole world. He was not a servant of any mundane rule or regulation. An empowered spiritual master like Ishwar Puri can bestow his mercy upon anyone, irrespective of caste or creed, and dare I say time as well, because the Ṛtvik system is for all time in the future, at least for the next 10,000 years. The conclusion is that an empowered spiritual master is authorized by Krishna and his own Guru, and should therefore be considered as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Here also he is saying he is authorized by Krishna and his own Guru. Sakshat Dharitvena. As Hari is free to act as he likes, the empowered spiritual master is also free. As Hari is not subject to mundane rules and regulations, the spiritual master empowered by him is also not subject. Krishna Shaktivena Nahitar Pravartan. An authorized spiritual master empowered by Krishna can spread the glories of the holy name of the Lord, for he has the power of attorney from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A spiritual master empowered by Krishna through his own bona fide spiritual master should be considered as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. That is the meaning of Sakshat Dharitvena. See how many times he is repeating this point. If we still do not understand, we are absolute fools. And our business is to just follow the order of the spiritual master, not to question it. The qualification of the Guru. This is the qualification according to him.
Anyone who is a capable disciple, एक अच्छा शिष्य अपने आप गुरु बन जाता है, being empowered by his Guru. कि मेरा अच्छा शिष्य है, I empower you. Blessing. आगे इस succession को और आगे बढ़ाओ. Yes, इस legacy और आगे लेकर के जाओ. So this is automatic.
What nonsense is this? First of all, blessings. What is that? No grace. We call Prabhupada his divine grace, and we call any senior devotee like his grace. This person is a disgrace. How he's behaving? Oh, I give you blessings. It's such a sacred thing. Dharma Samsthapana, which is the mission of the Lord, is established by sending pure devotees like Prabhupada and the whole parampara system, the acharyas, and he's making a joke out of it. He's making a mockery. He's nothing serious about his presentation, just like, making fun of the whole thing. This is rascaldom, honestly. This is not how you speak about these subjects. You're talking about Guru Tattva, at least have some Gurutva in you, some heaviness, speaking like an absolute laghu, flimsy nonsense. Any capable, acha Shishya, good devotee, capable, good disciple, nice disciple, can become Guru automatically. This is automatic. Prabhupada is saying only when he is ordered by his Guru. In the purport also just now we saw, he is authorized by Krishna through his own Guru. 2 times he mentioned in the purport here. And that conversation which we just saw, not just by qualification and authorization, they have no idea of Guru Tattva at all. This ISKCON people. They have no idea. Everything they're getting it wrong.
फिर वो सोचे लेकिन भला ये गलत सिस्टम पे चला क्यों? अगर ये ऋत्विक सिस्टम गलत है, प्रभुपाद जी के जाने के बाद ये वैलिड नहीं है, फिर भी चला क्यों? well, देखिए कलयुग है, सब चलता है.
Offensive nonsense rascaldom again. He's saying, why is the Ṛtvik system still going on if it's wrong? He says, well, Kali Yuga, everything goes. It looks like a stupid comment, but honestly, this is very, very offensive. The only way that people of this Kali Yuga can be saved today is through the Ṛtvik system. They can take shelter of Prabhupada and go back to Krishna. What Kali Yuga, anything goes. Yeah, everything is going wrong. This is the only thing that is right. And that you are saying as if it's a product of Kali Yuga. It is to save people of Kali Yuga. Prabhupada secured their future from the torment of Kali Yuga. And he's saying Kali Yuga, anything goes, Ṛtvik system. See how offensive. The Prabhupada personally used the word Ṛtvik. And he set up this system carefully. And here are people who's offending Prabhupada, insulting the system that he put in place. They say, oh, it never been done before. Oh, never done before. Then 16 rounds was never done before. All the acharyas before Prabhupada was 64 rounds. Why did you accept the 16 rounds? See 10 to 31. Swayam samuttirya sudustaram dyuman bhavarnavam bhimam adabhrasauhridah bhavatpadambhoruhanavamatrate nidhaya yataha sadanugraho bhavan. O Lord, who resemble the shining sun, you are always ready to fulfill the desire of your devotee, and therefore you are known as a desire tree, Vancha Kalpataru. When acharyas completely take shelter under your lotus feet in order to cross the fierce ocean of nescience, they leave behind on earth the method by which they cross, and because you are very merciful to your other devotees, you accept this method to help them. They leave behind on earth the method by which they cross the acharyas. And Krishna accepts that method left by them. Thus, the devotees have been advised to refrain from 4 sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, and to chant 16 rounds a day. These are bona fide instructions. So, chanting 16 rounds a day, Prabhupada is saying, is bona fide instruction. How is it bona fide? Because before that is 64 rounds. That is also not traditional then. So why in this case we accept 16? Because it's convenient, right? If 16 round is bona fide, then Ṛtvik system is also bona fide. It doesn't have to have a precedence, honestly. The principle has not changed. The principle is that the knowledge must be transferred from the spiritual master to the disciple, and that is happening through the books. There's nothing that is coming in the way of it, just because of the vibrator of those, that knowledge is apparently absent.
उनको आप डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, पढ़ सकते हैं, पीडीएफ फाइल से ये किस प्रकार से ऋत्विक मायावाद और ऋत्विकवाद इज एक्चुअली नॉट द रियल फिलॉसफी कि हम सोचे बस प्रभुपाद जी तक ही गुरु परंपरा रुक जाएगी, अब नीचे कोई दीक्षा गुरु है ही नहीं। नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है। गुरु परंपरा continues by the mercy of Śrīla Prabhupāda and of
Nonsense again. He's calling Ṛtvik Mayavad. Prabhupada came to save people from Mayavad, and he put in the Ṛtvik system so that people of all future can be saved from Mayavad, and he's calling Ṛtvik system as Mayavad. I don't know, we can just pray to Krishna to give him some good intelligence, because the way he's going, I don't know, he's headed for a disaster. Hope he understands. I don't know, I don't have much hope actually, because the whole system is a rotten system in ISKCON, and all the gurus, they're all peddling it. This whole narrative that this Ṛtvik system is wrong. Well, they don't have any evidence to prove it. In fact, there is so much more that can be said about the Ṛtvik system. I did a course of 15 hours, 5 videos of 3 hours each, and Nimanita Prabhu did almost a 2-hour video. Prabhu did almost a 1-hour video, and we have IS-77 paper. We have a lot of resources which will be quoted in the description box and in the pinned comment. Equip yourself with all the arguments there are, and in that way you can be saved from this cheating that is going on. So thank you very much. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupāda's Ṛtvik system of initiations ki jai. Ananta Gauri Vaiṣṇava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Kṛṣṇa.